One car we haven't talked about is
Uh-oh.
in that little run right there. Mr. Ed Enzer. Are we going to see some heavy hitters and naturally aspirated coming to drag week?
Mm,
May
might be
need to be
worth
time to
asking.
have some conversations with them guys. Hey, welcome to episode 159 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. Y'all, huge show tonight. We're going to have fun. We're talking to CJ Stevenson of Side by Side Tracker and Sick GPS about security and tracking for your hot rod, not just like making sure that it's in the spot you parked it, but how to kind of protect from that as well. And then we're going to have Mark Campbell on from Deechworks to talk about fuel systems, bro. I know we've hinted at what you've got coming for the Mustang. We've talked about it a few times. We're going to dive deep into why that was picked for it, and then we're also going to talk about them stepping in as the title sponsor for the short circuit and what that means for everybody. Plus, we have some Big Sky Race Week updates. We have results from Street Week Sweden and All Stars Drag and Drive. So, international show tonight. And lastly, we're going to talk about. Actually, no, I've removed the heads up hustle. Bro, they're going to have to wait till Saturday to see that. So, Mr. Eric, will you hit the intro and we'll do this thing?
All right, let's go.
All right, guys, welcome to again episode 159 of the Drag Drive Repeat Show presented by Summit Racing. My name is Mike Narks. I'm the host of this episode and the news that happens on Saturday. And my right hand man over here, Mr. Eric. Tell him what you got going on, dude.
I am Eric White, co-host of the show and news, and actually don't have a lot going on right now. It's like 95 degrees out here, so haven't
Yeah.
been doing much out there other than getting in my pool.
Yeah. Outside, inside though, you've been crushing it, dude. Photos and all that kind of cool stuff. We'll talk about some of the stuff going on in the Drag Drive Repeat update here in just a few minutes. Well, guys, you know how this thing kicks off. We always say thank you for being here. Thank you for being our race car friends. Thank you for doing what you do for us. We appreciate it. And big shout out to our race car friends at Big Sky Race Week. I don't know if you guys saw the photos that dropped and the videos that have been dropping. Big shout out to Brian for editing those. Those are coming to us from people on site. Mr. Adam Dorian there. What's up, buddy? Great to see you. Dude, I should have went, man. It would have caused all kind of havoc everywhere in every aspect of my life. But golly, man, those views just look absolutely incredible. So I'm going next year. I don't care. I don't, whatever it takes, I'm going to be up there. So, guys, thank you so much for that. And hey, hit the share button as we jump into the show here. And of course, our sponsors, man, cannot do this without them. So appreciate them and all they do for us and the sport. Not just us, but Summit Racing, of course, which you guys are going to see here in just a second. I actually made part of the video on their Hot Rod Power Tour coverage. Kind of cool. And then Deechworks, of course, going to be on later tonight talking about all that fun stuff. And then Molly Motorsports, of course, best pistons and rings and stuff in the game in Eric's car. We're going to get to lean on those here very soon, it sounds like. And of course, Driven Racing Oil, which I've got some stacked right out here, right outside the shop door or right outside the podcast door to put in the old truck. I cannot wait to have some Driven Racing Oil in this thing. I think when I put it in, I'm just going to turn the boost up. I think that's how that works, right? Good oil means more power, means, more reliability and safety, right?
Oh yeah,
I
100%.
mean, why not? Of course, Howard's Cams, Valve Train Specialist, J Wire Solutions, the man, Jay Blanchard up there, AFCO Racing Products, Performer Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, and Low Dollar Motorsport. Y'all, if you need anything, these brands right here can get you down the track and down the road for sure. Well, let's let Mr. Brian Lones tell us about what Summit's got going on, and then we're going to get into how they caught my good side on the video.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance, priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
And I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but part 1 and 2 of their Hot Rod Power Tour trip is out. It's awesome. Justin does a great job of voicing over. They interview a bunch of people. I mean, he's a pro at this, obviously, but they drove the Prada G body across the whole thing. I mean, they drove it from Ohio to the starting point in Joliet, all the way to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I caught up with him and Paul Sokolis, who runs the On All Cylinders podcast, which is really weird. And I guess people probably experience this when they talk to us, but when you listen to people's podcasts and you listen to them all the time and you hear them talk, but you don't get that interaction, right? Well, like I'm standing in front of him and I'm like, man, it's just so weird. Like I've listened to tens or hundreds of hours of that dude's voice talking about, whatever they're talking about on the On All Cylinders podcast. So it was kind of cool, and sent him an email yesterday about when he wants to come on the show and kind of talk about how they pick out stuff on All Cylinders. So, and then of course, like I hinted there in the intro, I made the shot on one of the B-roll shots on part 2. Your boy over there standing there looking good. They got my good side. It's a good thing I did all them squats. Catching my movie debut here. Talking to Tommy Dupree and Justin Wiedemann here. So big shout out to them. This was a ton of fun to spend a little bit of time with those guys there at the booth in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at Tulsa Raceway Park. So it was kind of cool.
You flexing those calves there or what?
I mean, I was trying. I'm like, I didn't even see him recording. That's just me all the time, buddy. That's me relaxed. So one thing we haven't talked about very much is something that we actually worked a really long time, or Summit worked a really long time on. So big shout out to Dave Fuller for putting this together. We basically begged for a recommended products sheet. So we have a Drag Driver Pete recommended products that you can find right on Summit. You can type in, Drag Driver Pete over there to see all of our products that are over there as well. But then we also have this sheet here, which I'm going to drop in the comments now. But we're going to talk about this a lot more because this is one, it helps with our affiliate deal with Summit. If you go through this, you buy something that qualifies, it sends us a small portion of the sale, which helps us do more stuff. But then also, I want to hear what you guys are talking about. I want to know what you guys are looking for, what parts are in your drag and drive trailer or car that are kind of universal, right? That's kind of why we have the floor jack and we have the tents and we have the oil and things like that. I want this page to be, this sheet here, this website, I guess, to be something that somebody could be questioning what they have and they go, hey, I'm going to jump over to this site and I'm going to see what I don't have that is on this list. So I thought that was pretty cool of them to do. And again, this isn't something that they just threw together. I mean, this is something they did not have before we asked for it. So big shout out to Summit for doing this. We just want to say thanks. So anyways.
Yeah, and people ask all the time, like, what should I take with in my trailer or what should I take with in my car? And this is just a resource that we could point people to as well.
Yep. Makes it very easy. Cassie Lowry in here saying, hey guys, currently in the pits of Lewistown, putting the car back together. It got a new cam and lifters today. Man, they are featured in some of the photos that I put up today. So big shout out to Jim Hopping and Aaron Fleetwood, who put those, who sent those to me, of Cassie and Kevin working on the 57. So, huge thrash to get there. They were putting the motor in on Wednesday and then had 1,200 miles to drive Thursday or Friday. Sorry, they put the motor in Thursday, had to drive all day Friday so they could get there on Saturday for tech and stuff like that. 1,200 plus miles. Pretty incredible. So I want to have them on the show whenever they get back and get rested up and we can talk through some of that stuff. So, all right, let's talk about some Drag Driver Pete updates. Oh,
Adam said, and I got the Lowry super drunk last night.
I think Adam got everybody super drunk last night because I was getting texts from him and Jim Hopping was texting me and they were all texting me kind of the same thing. So I know they were in a big circle around there just saying, oh, somebody else text Narcs. So
Yeah. He didn't show up, so let's blow his phone up.
yeah. Luckily, I keep my stuff on silent and when I sleep. So that's the way it goes. Well, guys, Drag Driver Pete updates. We'll run through this pretty quick here. Of course, registration 2 days from now, like a day and a half, really. 9 a.m. Eastern, Friday for prior Drag Driver Pete participants. So if you have participated in an event with us, and I would say since 2024, I think I started collecting emails from everybody then. So if you've done something with us since then, you're going to get an email with a passcode. That is several hundred unique people, and we only have 100 spots. So get ready. It's going to be a big swing. But I wanted to talk about, we're doing this Back to the Streets inspired heads up class, or these 3 heads up classes. OG Small Tires half full, which I'm really excited about. Adam Hodson, Cameron Andreen, who's at Big Sky Race Week right now, Gary Vardaman, and Cody Coots are signed up right now already for the OG Small Tire. That thing's going to be badass, especially at George Ray's Wildcat Drag Strip in Paragould, Arkansas. Bro, going to be nuts. We only have 2 people signed up in the stick shift. Now, I personally invited a shitload of stick shift people, and we only have 2 so far. But this class only gets 8. So get ready. So we got Peter Sisler, who will be at Heads Up Hustle in a couple weeks. I can't wait for that. And he just won Buckeye Skips. No, what was before that? Oh, there's too many events. Anyways, Peter won that class in 6. Oh, Back to the Streets. He won that. And then John Marks in the Toyota, which is on the left side of this flyer that Eric created. So that ought to be a good, fun race between those 2. Those guys duked it out when Peter's car was running right. So he has Heads Up Hustle to get it 100% and then, come back and kick ass. The 650 class, this class, I'm telling you, this will be the best grouping of 650 racers in drag and drive history.
Okay.
Personal invite, badasses. If you are a badass in 650 index and you've done something at an event, not just you're a good 650 racer, I want to know. Send me a note. Let me know who should be there, all this kind of stuff. Let me run through this list of names in this. So 650 index, we're taking 16 cars for this class. We have 8 full. We have Casey Banner. We have Joey Jarks, Casey Matthews, Red Hat Scotty, Chucky Skinner, Steve, I don't know how to say your name, bro. You're going to have to tell me, but it's RzeWnicki.
Renicki?
I don't know. Sure. John Doherty, who's run multiple 650s, and Chris Fetcher right now. Like this is going to be crazy. This class, bro, I'm telling you, 650, no time slips, and there's no boards at George Ray's. So nobody's going to know what they ran, just a win light. It's going to be freaking badass, dude.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So we have 8 more spots for that class. I am going to take 20 in that class because there will be people that will fall out. If we end up with too many, dude, we'll have to qualify. Like maybe somebody's going to have to qualify. So rules and all that kind of stuff are over on dragdriverpete.com/short circuit. You can find it over there. And then another big announcement, man. I feel like we have a lot of stuff going on right now, dude. It's like we're gunslinging over here, man. Drag and Drive Awards. Are you ready for this? Friday. It's a new day. It's a different day. We've done Thursday for the last 3 years. We're moving it to Friday, and we're moving it to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. This ought to be really fun because that was one of the constructive criticisms we got last year. It was like, hey, it's hard for me to get there on Thursday and be there Thursday morning and be there all weekend. So more people said they could be there on Friday. I'm going to put your asses to it. So 3 p.m. Friday, December 11th, PRI Show 2026, the Drag and Drive Awards, the 4th annual, bro.
That's wild.
That's pretty insane to think that we've done this will be our 4th year.
Yeah. Kanan said maybe I can attend now.
Yep. And I think there's a lot of people that are going to be in that same boat. I think this is going to give us an opportunity. I booked our hotel rooms today. Ouch. Double what they were last year. Double. Just rude jerks. So anyways, Drag and Drive Awards presented by Summit Racing, but big shout out to our boys at Deechworks who helped us get a room because we're not getting a booth this year. I know it's going to make a few people sad, but dude, we've got so much stuff we need to do that it's really hard to manage a booth. And I would rather be mobile, to be honest with you, than be locked down at a booth. So that's what we're
We'll
doing.
have
So good.
we'll have guest appearances at our sponsors booth, so we'll put a schedule together of what days will be where, and we'll have our standard stickers that we give out, so it'll be a little harder to get them this year because you're gonna have to find us when we're at a booth. So we'll make sure we get a schedule put together so you guys can come by and grab those stickers as well.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. All right. Well, race car friends update. I see Faster Ranger Motorsports in here saying, "Hola, race car friends." How about this? So, if you guys don't know, we have a membership program, $10 a month. You guys can sign up, dragdriverpete.com/race car friends. Gets you way more than just being cool and being part of the inner circle of Drag Driver Pete. But, bro, how about this? Laney Mackey got engaged yesterday or Monday, one of the two. How cool is this, man? There's so many, like, these are big moments in people's lives, and they're choosing to do it in drag and drive, which is so cool.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the views in the background of that. Like, that's a perfect setup right there.
Bro.
Props to him.
Yeah, I agree. So congratulations to them. I'm excited for them and their family. Kid seems awesome. I mean, if he's married into that, he better have his head on his shoulders, because he better be ready to work, man. Those folks, they do not play. The Mackeys are awesome. Other race car friends members that are there, Ramsey McCreary is still rocking in the Opal, which you guys have seen pictures of it. Chris Wozniak, this is a crazy story, swapped to a 4L60 or 700 R4, I can't remember, in his car, in the Barracuda, or in the Cuda, not Barracuda, in the Cuda, and has now lost overdrive. So he's cruising like 65 miles an hour, has lockup and everything like that, just has no overdrive in it. So, and Raj is still doing burnouts.
Of course, why wouldn't he?
Yeah. And then, of course, like we talked just a minute ago, the Lowrys have put a cam and lifters in the 57 wagon with the blower on it, and they're working their asses off. So if you go by them, tell them they're doing a great job, and good luck. So pretty cool. And then lastly, I didn't put a piece of artwork in here, but if you are a Race Car Friends member as of last night, I'm not going to do this for people that sign up tonight, but you are going to get ultra early access to the short circuit. So for those folks that are Race Car Friends members, I sent out an email on Monday. Those tickets will go live Thursday morning at 9 a.m. You will get a full 24-hour head start on even early entry, folks. So we'll see. I don't know, dude. There's no way we make it to public. Like,
Yeah,
I may have to call Tyler and be like, dude, we need 10 spots so we can get some public folks in here. But it's kind of an investment, you know what I mean? We love the way that Matt and June have done Rocky Mountain Race Week with veteran access, early access, all that stuff. So we do it the same way. And man, I love it. I think it's awesome. So
yeah, it's gonna be good. This one will be fun.
Oh, dude, I'm so ready. I was looking at hotels today. There's not even any hotels close. Like, get ready to camp. You know what I mean? It's gonna be awesome.
I mean, it'll be November, so why not?
Yeah. I'm sure it could be 80 or 8 in November. One of the two.
Right.
All right, man. Tell us what's going on with Driven.
All right, let's hit this ad read and we'll jump right in.
Hey, it's Brandon from Fort Smith, Arkansas here. Driven Racing Oil is a performance engine oil that can do it all. GP1 is the ultimate oil for any race or performance application. Whether launching hard at the drag strip, enduring the extreme heat of off-road and circle track, or pushing the limits in top-fueled drag boats and demo derbies, winning racers choose GP1. Compatible with engines from classic hot rods to cutting-edge race machines, GP1's unique surface cleaning and high zinc formulation ensures superior wear protection, particularly for flat tappet camshafts, while solving issues like cylinder washout with methanol and ethanol fuels. Crafted from the legendary Bradford, Pennsylvania base oil and enhanced with state-of-the-art additive packages, GP1 offers the best in protection and performance.
Real quick, sorry, go ahead, and then I want to talk about this picture Adam just sent me.
All right. Code DDR10 is the Driven Racing Oil discount code. Again, 10% off of drivenracingoil.com. Anything from assembly engine lube like I use to put in my Howard's cam, engine oil like you've got sitting outside your podcast room. They've got degreaser, speed wax, tons of great products. So again, code DDR10, 10% discount on drivenracingoil.com.
Yeah, I want to show this shot here and why this is important for Drag and Drive. So this is from Big Sky Race Week. This is from Adam Dory. Just sent me this text. They raced on an airport, and one of the great things about Drag and Drive and new events like Big Sky is that you're really racing Big Sky, right? You're racing what everybody else is racing that time. So while we do run records and keep track of all that kind of stuff, like at the end of the day, that's why it's so hard, because one year they may not go back to that airport. It's like Drag Week. They move around every year. So you end up like, you may have ran the quickest in 2016, and that's why nobody else could do it again, because you weren't at that caliber of track again until 2025.
Yeah.
So bring it on. All right. Sorry, sir. Tell us what's going on, man.
You're good. We hit on this already. Again, registration on Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time. Again, early entry for those who are prior drag drive repeat participants. Again, newcomers. Opens up Saturday morning. If there's anything left, we will see 9 a.m. Eastern time as well.
Yep. And then, of course, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but D-Torx has come on board as the title sponsor at Short Circuit 2026 and the Power Adder class sponsor at Route 66 Roundup. And then I'll run through these. LS Customs is sponsoring the traditional 650 index class at Short Circuit and Route 66 Roundup. And then US Motor Works, our Uncle Stoney, Johnson Stone Cypher, is sponsoring the all motor class at Short Circuit and Route 66 Roundup. So appreciate them and their support as we move into all of this fun stuff going forward. Route 66 Roundup, real quick, updates. I think it's going to be freaking badass. So I started looking at routes and kind of going wherever I want to do and all that stuff. Well, being that we're starting at the Tulsa Midnight Drags, I want to go south on Route 66. So we go, for folks that want to drive at night, I think I'm going to do, this will be the last bit of our Feed the Racers program from D-Torx. So I think I'm going to set up with Crossroads Diner, which opens at 6 a.m. I think I want to set up like, a couple $100 like we did with Waffle House that time in Springfield. The first $300 or $400, whatever's left in that budget, is going to be spent, going to be given to Crossroads Diner, and then those folks will eat for free. And then we'll head back towards Tulsa Raceway Park. So the way I've got it mapped out, we've got to obviously go by Velocity Motorsports, because that's our title sponsor for the single day events. And then this route here runs us up through Jinx, Oklahoma, and drops us right by the aquarium. So I think I want to do just, stuff out by the aquarium, because typically car guys, we're not ever thinking about anything else but car stuff. So this would give us a reason to maybe pull cool cars through the parking lot. So
I dig it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And as you can see, 119 miles by this. By the time I really kind of dial it in, I think we're going to be 125, 128, something like that. So that'll be just enough. And we have all day Sunday to get back and make your pass. So like import face-off starts at 9 a.m. The track goes hot at 10, and I'm not doing awards until 4. So we have plenty of time. People can make their run that, they could be done at the midnight drags at 2 a.m., go to the hotel and go to sleep, or go to the parking lot and go to sleep, and then get up and make the drive in the morning with no problem. But I think it'd be more fun to leave the track at 5 a.m. and cruise down and eat at Crossroads Diner and then head back. So, sorry.
Yep.
Okay.
You are good. July events. What do we got left? Well, Big Sky Race Week has 2 more days left until it is wrapped up. Then we go into Road Trip Drag Challenge number 2, which starts at the end of Big Sky Race Week. So 2 days away. Then we've got Pistons in the Pines, the 23rd through 25th. That is 8 days away. Heads Up Hustle, the 24th through 26th. 9 days away. You ready for that?
No.
Drop the Hammer Judgment Day, the single day event by Drop the Hammer, July 25th, 10 days away. And rounding out the month of July, Miles of Mayhem, 26th through the 31st, 11 days away. So if you're looking at that, we only have 3 days the rest of the month with no events. We've got the 20th, 21st, and 22nd. Otherwise, we've got events the rest of the month.
That's insane. Bring it on, dude. I can't wait.
Yeah, pretty awesome. And then moving into our August events here, starting out right away, August 6th or 8th, Havlic's Fastest Streetcar Shootout. That is only 23 days away.
I can't, dude. I'm so ready for that. You just
Yep.
don't even understand.
Yep. Olympic Streetcar Shootout, the 7th through 9th, 24 days away. Sick Michigan Miles, the 16th through 22nd, 32 days away. Dragway Rush, the 19th through the 22nd, 35 days away. And rounding out the month of August, Cruise and Lose, the 21st through 23rd, 37 days away.
Man, that's insane. It's insane that we're that close.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty wild. And that gets us at 52 events for the year. And again, you can find all of those events at dragdriverepeat.com/events. That'll get you the interactive map where all the events kick off at. And then if you want it in a list form, scroll past that and you will see the list at the bottom.
Man, it's wild that there's that many.
Yeah. Austin Mackey made it to Malta.
Mm-hmm. What are we going to talk about next, dude?
We are going to talk about Street Week Sweden results. Again, wrapped up recently, and we've talked a little bit about some of the winners. You know, Michael Westberg, who won the whole thing. But we're actually going to go through each class here, and we're going to butcher some names. I looked at this list, and boy, we're going to struggle.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and kick us off here with the first class. Was Max Outlaw. Again, Michael Westberg taking the win there, 4.22 over Janis Saline and a 4.473, followed by Henrik Pearson with a 4.507. Tight class there.
Yeah, so 2 and 3 is pretty tight. Street Outlaws up next. Henrik Anderson, 477 average on that one. Jimmy Carlson in second with a 481, so pretty close there. And then Henrik Ludwig, I don't know. There's my V's to G transition there. It doesn't work. 498. So sorry for ruining that one.
Ultimate Street is up next. Sammy Tovanen with a 5.067 is the winner there. Second place, Hanu Hellman with a 5.348. And rounding out the top three there, Stefan Carlson with a 5.480.
Man, that's awesome. True Street up next. Johanny Joman, 572 average for them. Matthias Janssen next with a 580 average. And then Gunnar Larson after that with a 590 average. So another close class.
Yep. Pro Touring, Peter Lundgren taking that class with a 5.677. Second place, Nicholas Wickender with a 5.871. And finishing up the top three here, Michael Callan with a 5.991.
And I want to find out what this Import War rear-wheel drive, what that class pertains to. So we got Per Christian Harlstad, 556, and then Casey's Povilonis. Oh, that's probably not how you pronounce it. 562 average for them. And then Dan Olsleberg in third place with a 622 average. So pretty far between 2 and 3, but pretty close for 1 and 2 there.
Yeah. And then we go on to Import War front wheel drive. Nikolai Hearing with an 8.240 front wheel drive car. That's doing pretty good. Second place, Oliver Peterson with an 8.305. And third place, Morten Mortensen with an 8.451.
Nice. Four-wheel drive class, Christian Dalgas, 535 average. Daniel Helsing, 606 average for him. And then Magnus Fritz in four-wheel drive rounding out top three, 613 average.
Then we have Diesel Power, Frederick Scrolloff with a 6.305. Second place, Stig Holm with a 6.363. And third place, Daniel Sikaban at an 8.683.
Man, big swing there, 2 to 3. In Classic, which is filled with 1950s Chevrolets, which is crazy to me all the time. Per Justison with a 577 average. Kenneth Weston with a 642 for second place. And then Peter Erickson rounding out the top three, 646.
And then our final class here is the hot rod class. Martin Lundquist with a 6.540 taking the win there. And a tight battle between second and third here. Second place, Daniel Anderson with a 6.5528 over Salfist Bergley with a 6.5589.
Dude, that's crazy. So 53 ten thousandths
Yeah.
over the week. Man, that's badass. Yeah, that's another event that I think would be really fun to go hit is Street Week Sweden.
Yeah, I like the variety of different vehicles that you see there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a really fun looks like a really fun event, and dude, some of the craziest cars. And those cars are fast as shit. I mean, dude, not just Michael Westberg, which, we were dude, did you see all the people replying to the there was a lot of people at Street Week Sweden that shared the reel we talked about from Saturday where I was like pleading for that car to come over, and they're like, "Hey, send him money. He's coming. He's ready." So we got to put some money together for that dude to get over here in that car. So
Heck yeah.
yeah, I'm kind of excited. It's going to be awesome.
Well, again, appreciate Driven for being on board. Use code DDR10 for that 10% discount. DrivenRacingOil.com.
For sure. Let's move on to the J-Wire segment here.
What's up, guys? My name is Cole from Fort Worth, Texas. Expert car and marine wiring solutions that you can trust. J-Wire Solutions can wire and plumb your hot rod, your race car, hell, even your drag and drive car. Plus, they offer products to make your driving experience way better, like their blinker module that is just a must for all drag and drive cars. This module will allow your rear turn signals to continue to function while the brake pedal is applied, just like stock. Find all the details at jwiresolutions.com.
In this spot, just want to give a shout out to Chris Wozniak for sending this incredible shot from Big Sky Race Week.
Dude, that looks beautiful.
This may be one of the best shots from the event. I mean, golly, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Shot of Corey Panther, another Race Car Friends member. Look at this though.
That is you can't get that shot anywhere else. Like that's
No, dude, there's nowhere else you can take that shot. Not like even the Appalachian Mountains or whatever they call them over there. You can't even get that shot. I mean, bro. Damn. I want to go so bad.
pretty awesome.
Yeah. Big shout out to everybody at Big Sky. Again, good luck. We'll talk about all the results and stuff on Saturday morning, but I couldn't not show those as well. So let's talk about some all-stars drag and drive Australians, new Australians regional event. This is part of like, I think 8 or 9 events they have in Australia now. And this one is no freaking joke, bro. This one brought out some hitters for sure. What's crazy is, it's 90 degrees at your house. It's 88 here now, all that kind of stuff outside. But over there, it's nice. It's the wintertime.
Yeah.
So these cars are fast. So they had said way earlier in the year that, there was going to be some serious competition coming in. They were really prepping for some radial type stuff to come in and do damage and do work. And it worked. Adam Rogash took home the win in Unlimited, reset the quickest pass in history of Australian drag and drive. I mean, this guy is not playing. The one thing they do, they mixed they had a quarter-mile track and a eighth-mile track. So everything we go through today is going to be the overall total ET, which we did a few years ago at the circuit. And it's typical of this. It kind of makes it tough as we go forward because you don't really have averages, right? But listen to these times. His total 3-day ET, 7.79. 17.79. My apologies. That's pretty crazy. 673 on day 1, 450 with a 1 on day 2, and then 656 on day 3 for the quickest pass in Australian drag and drive. And then Josh Putlin, second place, 20 with an 8 as far as his total ET.
And that's wild. That's 3 days. And you'll go to a drag and drive where some cars don't even make that in one pass.
Dude, I've been
right.
I've been that dude.
Next class here is the Forced 28s. Brandon Zito taking that with a 21.833 total ET, 7,267, a 4,745, and a 7,188. Second place here, Trent Brimble with a 22.193 total ET. And third place, Jason Kenny with a 22.472 total ET.
Man, bring it on. That's awesome. Naturally aspirated 28s with 28-inch tire there. You got Dom Zito taking the win in that class with a 24.336 total with a 917 day one, 594 day two, and a 921 on day three. That's fast for naturally aspirated stuff. And then of course, second place, Michael Ryder, 24.662 total for him.
Yeah, it was close too.
So pretty close, yeah.
Force 235, 255, winner Daniel Smith, total ET of 22.273. Had a 7.351, a 4.814, and a 7.437. And then second place, Juan Kuding with a 23.937 total.
Yeah, this is pretty fun class right here. About naturally aspirated 235, 255. Kevin Brown, 23.408. I think this is where the total comes into play so importantly, right? So Kevin Brown, total of 23.408, takes the win. He's got an 887, a 570, and an 883. Then Brody Olson, second place, actually went quicker than Kevin on day one, but he's got a 23.462. So he's 54 hundredths behind him, 54 thousandths behind him in second place. So Brody Olson. And then you've got Jason Mansuato in third place with a 23.543. So just right behind him. I mean, what's that? 8,000, something like that. 881. So real tight on day one there. 571 for him on day two. So they all three ran in the 570s on day two, and then 894 on day three. So he was off by half a hundredth. I mean, five hundredths he's off on that. And dude, that class is tight, man. That's crazy. These naturally guys are quick. I mean, 887 on a 235 tire. Shit. Come on.
Right.
I mean,
then we've got Pro Import Scott Huffman taking that with a 20.329 over William Yarwood with a 20.399. So again, pretty close there. Scott had a 7.931, a 4.955, and a 7.443. And William had a 7.692, which was quicker than Scott's day one pass. Had a 4.998 on day two, and 7.709 on day three. And that's what put him behind, is that day three.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting when we start talking about the totals here, because a hundredth of a second really is getting. I mean, you really are in trouble if you're a hundredth behind when you leave that day, because that's a hundredth you've got to make up. So pretty cool. Pro 850/550. So this is 850 index racing, but also 550 index racing, which I thought was pretty interesting. So a guy named Disco Dean, not the Disco Dean we were thinking of. This is another Disco Dean. 0.034 over the index. Salty. It's badass. That's like an 850 with a 3 average. Okay. He did 8.521 on day one, 551 on day two, and an 850 with a 2 on day three. So that's where, kind of make that up. You got David McLeish in second with a 0.153 over the index, but 7 cars on day one ran an 850 with a number, 85 something. 5 cars ran 550 with a number on day two, and 3 cars ran 850 with a something on day three. That's wild. Competition, dude. That's crazy, man.
And that's why we say 850 is one of our favorite classes.
Yeah.
Well, that puts us to the Pro 950 and 6.0 class here. Brad Dilger with a 0.051 over the index. So on his 950, he had a 9.510 and a 9.502. And then on the 6.0, he had a 6.039. So pretty good there. Second place, Jason Vanderlyn with a 0.240 over, and Andrew Blom with a I guess we don't have his over there, but he also ran.
He was like in 5th or 6th, but not on day 3.
Okay. He also ran a 9.502 on day 3.
Yeah, pretty incredible. And of course, as we get into slower cars, right? So Pro 10.5/650 class, this one's going to be tight, right? So Matt Francis 0.043 over the index. Listen to these numbers. This is what I think is so interesting. Day one, he was in ninth place with a 1052 on a 1050 index. Ninth place. Day two, he ran a 6500 perfect. And then day three, he was seventh with a 10518 on a 1050 index. Bro, that's insane. Tim Heibloem, second place, 0.046 over the index, 1050 perfect on day one. Probably one of the only times in history that's ever happened. Fifth place on day two with a 652 on a 650 index. Insane. And then he was eighth on day three with a 1052 run. Like, that's crazy. Rob Ware in third place, 052, like 0.052 over the spread. Fourth place, Rob Wizard, 0.068 over the spread. That's four deep, and we're still in the zeros, right? This is the crazy part. 19 cars on day one ran a 10.5 something. Bro,
that is wild.
I mean, shit, son, that's crazy. Day two, 13 cars ran a 6.5 something. And day three, 13 cars ran a 10.5 something. Like, dude, that class
is
insane.
crazy.
That's the tightest class in this entire event.
That is wild.
Yeah.
And then that takes us to our final class here, the Pro 1150 750 index. Wade Morin, 0.028 over his index, 11.501, a perfect 7.500, and then an 11.527. Again, just crazy. Damon Burham was a 0.084 over, and Marcus Hamilton 0.089 over. So even close for those two spots there. But again, 1150 day one, the top 9 cars ran an 11.5 something.
God, dude.
Day two, the top 9 ran a 7.5 something. And day three, the top 5 ran an 11.5 again. So these index classes are always super competitive.
Yeah, I like the way that this broke it down. So, do you want to pull up their website real quick, because I think it made it really easy. Oh, dang! Did you pull it down?
I got it
Sorry
up
about
still.
that.
No, I
Yeah,
still got it up.
Yeah, because dude, this website I'm telling you, it may be the best one that I've seen. This is really cool. So, if you guys find All Stars Drag and Drive on Facebook, it has a link to this system. I don't even know. I thought this was really badass in the way they have put it together. Obviously DAs, all that kind of stuff, but I really like entry list. I like how they did the classes. So yeah, just open up like Pro 850 or something, because this was cool. So it has it broken down by day. You can see everybody's times on the left and right. You can do the overall, which would give you all the stuff. But what I liked is how they did this you can kind of see it there where your mouse is moving, what they were, plus for the day. So like Rob Armstrong's 0.12 over for the day on that dial. So I thought that was pretty cool the way they did it. And you, of course, add all those together, you get 0.343 over the index. So pretty cool setup. I really like this. I'd like to have some conversations with them. I'd like to talk to those guys and maybe even have the team on if we can figure out the timing on that stuff, maybe in the next week or two. But this website's badass, dude.
Yeah, you can search.
Hell of a job.
196 entrants, and there was some other stuff down here too. Your quarantine, and then the top overall combined ET for all classes, which was cool. Wow. The lowest ET for quarter mile for all classes. The lowest ET eighth mile, which if you're looking at this, Adam Rogash has first place on all of these.
Yeah.
The top 10 highest mile per hour and quarter mile. Look at that, 294.
That can't be right, dude.
I was like,
that can't be right. That's got to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because that didn't come up in anything. So it's got to be a misprint, or, they typed it in wrong.
219, 196. Top 10 highest mile per hour for eighth mile, 171. Again, Adam. So just some additional cool statistics down here at the bottom. It looks like you could
Mhm.
search for a racer if you wanted to search for, you know, Adam Rogash. You can click on that and, you know,
Wow.
take you to the class that he was in.
Yeah, how cool, man. This is awesome.
And is that the average there? No.
No, so that's what he ran on day one. That's what I liked about this as I was going through getting all the stuff. So you got day one, you can click day two, day three, and what was really interesting now, the unlimited class is a little different because Adam had it every day. But if you go back and go to like, what was the
It
class where
looks
the guy was like eighth on day one?
it looks like it has the
So like
ability
Pro 1050.
to track averages though.
Yeah, yeah. So if you go to Pro 10.5 there, so if you, yeah, I don't know why
So
it
here
starts
we
so
are
far down.
on
Yeah, so
day
you got
one.
day one. So you can see, what the standings were in day one, what the standings are in day two, day three, and things like that, which was really tough as I was moving through putting all the names and stuff in because I was like, wait, I had a bunch of times where I had the wrong times in there. But this is really cool. I really enjoyed this part here and how they kind of put all that together.
Yeah,
So good
I
job to
would
those
agree.
guys. Yeah, I definitely want to have some conversations with them. I have some ideas on maybe we can work together on some stuff I got planned.
I'm sure
Anyways,
that got your wheels spinning a little bit when you saw that.
spinning is an understatement.
Stuck in the
uh,
mud.
yeah, yeah. Big shout out to Adam here. I thought this shot was super cool. I mean, dude, to put the flag up, throw a huge burnout. Thought that was a really cool way to do it. So big shout out to Jay Blanchard, of course, wiring, plumbing. They can do anything and everything you need. The next event for those guys is going to be Judgment Day with Carl Stansel and Drop the Hammer. So those guys, if you are racing against them, good luck. You're going to need it. You're going to need all the help you can get because their shit's on point, I promise. And they're coming. I think the class they're running is like a 540 class or something like that. So should be pretty intense. But I'll get with Jay and we'll figure out what they got going on with Brian Acton's Nova and what's up next. I'm sure they'll be bringing out the Blazer of Kyle, which is Brian's son, and kind of going from there. So big shout out to them. Appreciate all the help he provides us. And I mean, you've got the block off thermostat thing in the Mustang, and
Yep.
possibly soon the 240. You said.
Yep, I want to get one ordered. I was just looking on the website recently, and what I really like is I think it's $30 for the piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've got two options for sizes. Well, I don't know what size that thermostat is. It's on the car. So if you spend an extra $8 for $38, you can get both sizes. So then once you take it apart, it doesn't matter if you measured or not because you got both pieces. So that's probably what I'm going to do is order that. That way I don't have to try to take it apart, measure it, put it back together, wait
Mm-hmm.
for the part to come in. I can just have them, and whenever I'm ready to do it, I can just swap it. So
Yeah, for
I've
sure.
been driving the 240. I sent you some pictures recently. I've been driving it to work. Beautiful in the mornings here. When I come home and it's 95, a little bit warm, but definitely worth it. It's been a ton of fun. So
Yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome. All right. Well, let's move on to the Molly segment and bring in our first guest for the night. I'm kind of excited about this conversation. We got nerdy with this a couple weeks ago, but if you don't mind, I'll hit the Molly play button here and we'll get into this.
Looking for a forged piston kit for your vehicle? You need Molly Motorsport Power Pack. What is Power Pack? It's the ultimate forged piston kit that comes complete with pistons, performance file fit rings, hot string steel pins, and clips, all engineered to work together. So all you have to do is build something great. Find your Power Pack at mollymotorsport.com.
And I sure straight up meant to wear my Molly shirt tonight. I got a Molly shirt from Hot Rod Power Tour, which is cool hanging out with those guys and seeing all of them. Well, our first guest for the night, let's go ahead and bring him on. Mr. CJ Stevenson, owner and operator of SideBySideTracking.com and the man kind of behind the SICK GPS program as well. So kind of exciting, dude. Tell us what's up, man. What you got going on?
Yeah. So really not a lot right now. We got some. I'm actually watching some of the guys up in Big Sky going. If I see their names come across Facebook or I see a post, I kind of like to log in and make sure that everything's working as it should. And And
Yeah.
you know, I kind of live vicariously through the tracking data, so it's nice to see them you know, cruising around, going down the track. You know, some of them hitting 170 miles an hour whenever it checks in. So, but not much else going than that. We got going to be going down to the Race Expo in Bradenton for Sixth Magazine here in 2 weeks. So that'll be
That's
a good
awesome.
time. We'll have some devices for sale down there, and might have some giveaways and stuff like that. So.
How cool. So yeah, Racer Expo, that's going to be kind of fun. I've seen a couple things about it. Looks like it's going to be a hell of a show.
Yeah, it should be a good time.
And then now with your work with SIG, do you get to out to many events? I mean, I don't know if you and I have hung out yet.
No, not haven't been to any sick events. Just we're generally pretty busy ourselves doing our own thing, and so I think probably the last event that I was able to get out to was going to be Rocky Mountain Race Week whenever they were here last year.
Nice.
And so that was about it. But
yeah, where is here? Tell everybody where.
So we're based in Bixby, Oklahoma, which is just south of Tulsa. So
sweet. So what you're saying is, hang on, Eric. Do we need to route everybody by your place? Is Bixby on the route I showed earlier?
No. So you bypassed all that and went to the Highway 75 traffic that I was telling you about. So man, that 75, that whole 75 corridor is just all kinds of torn up right now. So I think you might miss it. But yeah, I was gonna say it might be good just to cruise down Memorial, get seen, and cut through that 151st area. So
yeah, 151st probably a better route for us getting to Velocity anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and it's a nice, and they changed the speed limit down there. It used to be 65 from Bixby to Glenpool, but it's all like 55 mile an hour zone now. So
fine. Well, that means we'll be in the same spot. I need to get over and see all your stuff, man. I'm excited about this. It reminded me earlier that I have a tracking setup here that you sent me and I've never installed. So Eric was kind of giving me some shit. He's like, dude, put that on or send it up here. I'll put it on the 240. And I think the 240 may be a good idea because, it's convertible, easy to get into. So let's talk about some tracking and why this is important for folks that are out there.
Yeah. So tracking, it costs so little these days to get a tracking device, and the reward that you get from them, if it, the unfortunate happens, you'll know instantly if you've got your recipient set up and you've got your text messages set up, you're going to know instantly that your vehicle's moving when it shouldn't be. So when we first got into sponsoring some events and doing some drag drives, I was kind of surprised because we had a lot of people sending us text messages going, hey, I appreciate the system so much. I wake up 4 or 5 times a night to go check on my car and make sure it's still there. And I didn't have to do it during this whole time because I would set my geozone whenever I got to the hotel at night. And, every morning whenever I started to drive away, it instantly sent me a text message. So I didn't even worry about it this time. So that's awesome. Kind of the peace of mind you can get from tracking. And it's so cheap. Especially if you go through Sixth Magazine or us and to get your tracking system set up. So
that's awesome. Yeah, and I think I said side-by-side tracker earlier, but it's Get Tracking, right?
Well, so Get Tracking is essentially my parent company. It's just a generic, and then we branch out through different avenues from there. A lot of times in the side-by-side world, if you don't brand it specifically for each side-by-side, people don't think it will work for their vehicle. So, tracking works on anything from 12 to 48 volts. So we do a ton of golf carts, and so we've got URLs that essentially link just to golf cart websites and stuff like that. So,
how cool! Well, there was you were kind of sending me some stuff earlier, and you're talking about. I said, man, what are questions I should ask? What are things that we should talk about as we get into like the first part of this? And you were basically talking about what makes different other tracking companies. I don't want to turn this into an infomercial. We're going to get to some fun stuff in a minute, but I think this is really important as we go forward with all this stuff because this thing is cheap, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, our basic, if you go to sickgps.com, our basic tracker is $150. that's done, and it comes with 1 full year of service. So you get all the notifications, unlimited notifications. You get your 2-minute ping rate, all that, and it comes with 1 year of service. And to keep the service for like our waterproof GT 1510 model, it's $15 a year. Now, we don't necessarily advertise it at $15 a year because some of our other legacy models are $24 a year, but that's still 24 is it's essentially $2 a month is what it would come out to be. That's nothing for all the messages that it will get, so your bump alerts and all that stuff. But we usually advertise that it's $24 a year. That way, in case you have a legacy product or anything else, that the price isn't changing on you. So when some of the newer models, like our that our newest 1510 model, if you bought that and your year of service comes up and you see that it only cost you $15, you got a deal. So
that's awesome. Dude, that's really cool. And I can't imagine trying to keep up with all the fun stuff that comes from that. And for $24 a year, that's pretty cheap because you're telling us before the show, like, I mean, what's it take to wire one of these things in? Do I need to call J-Wire and have him do this for me? Like, do I need to ship my car?
Get a video. Yeah, I could always use somebody to do a good install of videos. So, but yeah, it's power and ground is all that it requires. So when we order devices, we can kind of pick and choose firmware, and we can choose how it needs to be wired up. And so we found the best for the drag and drive cars in general, side by sides, all that, 2-wire setup. So you got power and ground, and that's all it needs to do all its basic functions. Now, if you want to be able to kill your vehicle remotely, and like I said, we've had some customers add in the relay kit to the device to be able to kill, their Dominator, their ECU essentially, by the phone app. So, or you can log in through the website, and there's a full blown portal through the website, and you can kill the vehicle remotely through it. So, yeah, you've got options on stuff to do. And like I said, power and ground. Now, in a lot of drag and drive cars, the biggest question we get is, hey, I've got a kill switch. And so we say, if you're running a kill switch, you do have a little bit more wiring to do because you need to really put that device before the kill switch. It's designed to stay powered on 24/7. Now, it will turn itself off so that it's not pulling power. And I want to say the latest model uses 1.5 milliamp hours of power, which is virtually nothing. But you do need to wire it before. So whether you get additional extra wire and you kind of have to make your, just an extra 4 or 5 foot of power line, I usually tuck it in, or I'll use the same colored electrical tape as whatever the power wire is coming, and try to hide it underneath the line, or just use wire loom. If you've got wire loom, cover all your wires in it anyways. But yeah, make sure that the device is before the kill switch, essentially, for your battery cutoff.
Well, one thing that I should have done is find that box before the show started, so we can talk about the size of this thing. Do you have a size? Do you have one of those boxes around there?
Yeah. So everything back here, these are all SICK devices. Let me grab one.
Nice. Yeah. Sorry, we should have thought of that earlier, because I mean, you start talking about trying to hide something. I mean, it's not the size of a battery.
Yeah. So essentially. Yeah, so you've got essentially, we've got the phone apps. You can literally just go download the phone apps. You scan the QR code to register your device whenever you purchase it. But essentially, the device is essentially the size of a business card. It's a 2x3 little device. So that right there is everything. So it's they're pretty small, little half-inch thick, awesome. And like I said, power and ground is all that's required. If you want to do a kill switch thing, you've got white for ignition, and you've got green that goes to a normally open relay or a normally closed relay. So that's pretty much it. And then we tell people you can stick them up high in the trunk. A lot of times when we're doing local installs, we will do them in the front quarter panels of cars, and just find a good source of power that's full-time power. And it takes us to do a good hidden install 30 to 45 minutes. It might take a person maybe 45 to an hour and a half if it's their first time installing a tracker, because you're going to spend more time thinking about where you want to hide it and how you're going to run the wires before. So we just say, take your time and do it. Whatever time you invest into hiding the tracker device and doing the wiring, that pays back in spades, because that's time that people aren't finding it easily. So
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought of that. I mean, because obviously I'm not going to put it on the firewall. Hey, right here.
Yeah.
If you look
Yep.
under the hood of the old truck, you'd be like, I don't even know what I'm looking at. But there's something
Well,
hidden in these wires. I just can't figure it out.
yeah, and that's we tell a lot of people. I say, go to YouTube and look at some CCTV footage and see how people are stealing, whether it's muscle cars or it's drag and drive cars and stuff like that. The people that had the Nova and the or the Chevelle and the Camaro stolen, was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
They posted their footage on Facebook of the people stealing those cars. The crazy thing is, you know what they didn't do? They didn't open the hood. So they just got into the cab of them, and it looks like on the Nova that they just disconnected the shifter. It was from the video that I saw and the talk about it. So we do a lot of our installs underneath the hood and just stick it in a quarter panel. If you've already got some wire, I mean, if you're underneath your hood's real clean, you might notice wiring if it's fresh wiring, but usually once you've got some miles on there, all the wiring kind of starts to look the same, so you can't tell. So
yeah.
But that's
Interesting. Okay, walk us through some of this other stuff that you have notes here while I make a note of what we're going to talk about next.
Okay.
Yeah, you're kind of talking about real-time visibility, success. Like recovery success. I mean, that's probably one of the biggest things. Because listen, that old truck of mine, it may be a shitty old truck, but that's my shitty old truck. Like it's been around a long time.
Yeah. So I mean, we've all got our projects, whether it's cars or it's side by sides, whatever it is. You've got a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in these things and investment into them. So adding tracking is very important, and it's one of those things where I've always told people, whether you're using our tracking or you're using some other company, as long as you have tracking, it works out for everybody, because we've had so many recoveries where we didn't just recover their vehicle, we recovered a couple other vehicles and a lot of other stolen stuff. We've had food trailers stolen, where when we recovered the food trailer, there was motorcycles hidden under a canopy or a tarp that was on the ground, and real nice Harleys just laying on the ground. So when you protect your stuff, you're also protecting a lot of other people's stuff. And like I said, it costs so little to add GPS tracking. And I really warn people about, whether it's like the real GPS tracking is the best way to go. If you're only willing to spend $25 for like an AirTag or some of those Bluetooth trackers, that's not real tracking. You're obviously using somebody else's phone to relay the data of where that device was at. And a lot of people don't realize in some of the newer Android and iOS updates, you can disable other people's AirTags by stating that it is stalking you. So you can permanently disable a AirTag by saying it's stalking you. And if you look at all the literature, they're not saying use AirTags for things of high asset value like cars. So they always show AirTags.
Find your keys.
Yeah, it's used to find your keys. It's used to find your wallet, your backpack, stuff like that. If it's one of those things where, like, if that's all you're willing to spend, you don't expect a whole lot whenever your car goes stolen, because we get so many calls from random people that said that they had an AirTag or a Tile or even like a Samsung tag that and it just didn't work. They never saw it again, and they say it pinged one time and it was gone, and you just say, oh, that just sucks. If you get real GPS tracking, from the second the device feels motion or vibration, it's going to turn itself on. It's got a 6-axis gyro inside it that can tell whether it's moving, and it can tell whether voltage was getting sent through, and it'll turn itself on. It'll instantly start pinging, and if you've got your recipients set up correctly, you'll get that text message and an email instantly notifying you. We're working on new phone apps as well that will actually have push messages that come to the front of the phone. That way you don't have to load the app. So, but I mean, the app takes 2 seconds to load into and see. And so I always tell people, check in, log into your app once a week, once a month at minimum, to check and make sure everything's good to go and you've got all your settings set up right, and go from there. So it doesn't take long to do. And like I said, the protection you get from it and the recoveries that we get from these things is just, it's awesome to see what else gets recovered when you get your vehicle back too. So,
yeah. Wow. Well, we talked about ease of installation. Give us a recovery success story, man. Tell us something something good that happened from doing this.
So we had a guy with a side-by-side, and I should have sent you pictures of it. A guy with a side-by-side lives in an apartment. They've got parking below the apartments, and he had a side-by-side on a trailer. He got his stolen, and whenever he called me and bought it and told me how he was living, I was like, well, yeah, you probably are going to get your stuff stolen. And it was like 4 months later, he calls and he says, hey, we're trying to verify some stuff. And I'll send you some of the videos, because he live streamed a lot of it, and he put a lot of it like on Instagram, where the cops were coming out, helicopters were coming out. They had drones going over the property because you could see it was kind of far back. But they ended up recovering a trailer that was stolen that had, a Pro Mod car in it too. So somebody got their Pro Mod car back, and just from somebody getting their side-by-side stolen and recovered. And so that's the kind of thing that happens. So, it's just
what you're saying is a lot of times these aren't just things of opportunity. Sometimes people are looking for this stuff.
Sometimes, yeah, people are looking for it, and it's one of those things where if they're driving around hotels, a lot of times they're looking for just the nicest thing they think they can get away with. Or like I said, the Nova is a great example of it, and with the Camaro, I think they were both from the same family that whenever they got stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So F-250s, we get a ton of people saying, hey, my F-250 got stolen. Those are some of the highest stolen vehicles there are. So if you're pulling your drag and drive car to the 1,200 miles to get to a race, that's where you're kind of vulnerable, is also on the trailer. With F-250s, and a lot of times your weakest link there is going to be the hitch pin. They'll pull the truck out of the way and just rehitch up to your trailer and pull your stuff off with it. So we always tell people, do everything you can. We had talked about earlier about pulling battery cables, putting chains through the tires, stuff like that. Whatever you can do.
I want to talk about all those things here in just a second too, because this is I've got a whole list of dumb stuff to do.
Yeah. So
there's a couple other things we had here was like the hidden costs of theft. It's not just the vehicle. There's all the other stuff involved as well, right?
Yeah. So I mean, you've got countless hours of your time. You've got all the money and parts you got, and a lot of times insurance, your insurance is going to devalue some stuff, and some stuff you might not be able to get. Some of our busiest times were back when COVID hit and they had that chip shortage. So I don't know if y'all remember the microchip shortage, and you just couldn't get what you had because people were running out of microchips to get stuff back. So the hidden cost is really, just the time that you no longer get to do the hobby that you love. And so $150 and you get instant notifications for it. So it's just one of those things that, yeah.
And then one of my favorite things here, the last part of this segment here is your theft sucks philosophy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, so we've had real kind of two big philosophies. We've always been the common man's tracking company, where you don't have to run a business and able to write your tracking off. And so that's kind of the big thing that sets us apart is we've always sold at a low price. We've never had a high jacked up price where you're paying your service fees are $10 a month, which ends up being $120 a year or more, and that's year after year. We've always been $24 for our service, so we've always been the common man's tracking company. And that when you look online and you see somebody, when you see somebody's stuff get stolen, you go, well, that sucks, and so theft sucks, and so we always hashtag theft sucks, and it just is what it is. Theft sucks, and everybody knows somebody that's had something stolen. So it just sucks, and I wish it didn't, but people are out there that just
people are shitty.
Yes, that's pretty much it. When times and I say theft went up, and I don't know if you guys probably didn't notice it, but anytime the government gives away money. So, when we had the Trump bucks came out the first time, and Biden had his stimuluses come out, the amount of theft that went up was crazy because the prices on everything on Marketplace went through the roof. And so, theft during that time was crazy because people stealing stuff were getting a huge premium on stolen stuff through Facebook Marketplace. So
I didn't think about that. What's that say
yeah,
about me?
So, well, when you're in the industry, so we get tagged on so much stuff to post, at least in the side-by-side industry where somebody's side-by-side got stolen, and so we get tagged on that stuff a lot. And we try to share everything that we can whenever we can. So
that's awesome. Well, last part here in this segment, just again, I dropped the link to the site over in the chat for SICK the Mag, for the SICK GPS trackers. Again, I mean, I think this is a great system. I think a lot of folks need it, and we're definitely gonna. I may keep this one, and we'll just order a new one for Eric.
There you go. Well,
yeah, I need to put this on the here. Sure. Right.
Yeah.
One real quick, you do have more than just the one you showed. You have several different options. I'm sure there's other stuff you're working on. There's ways. I mean, some of these things like that, $750 looks like Dodge stuff, man. It's getting the Mopar tax.
Yeah, so a lot of the Defender stuff, and that's not really our stuff. That's another company's. So I can't really speak to them, but I know that stuff does work really good. The Dodges and whatnot, they seem to get stolen a lot in Michigan and Atlanta and places like that. So, here in Oklahoma, we don't see too much of it, but so we've got a bunch of different tracking device models. SICK has 3 of them listed here. And so the most common is going to be the 1510. It's $150. It's, IP67 rated, waterproof. So you can place this anywhere. It can take temperatures as low as like -40 degrees up to temperatures of like 200 degrees. So whether you're going under the hood, whether you're going in the trunk or going into an A-pillar or something like that to hide it, it's good. It has the strongest GPS modem of any model that we've had in the last probably 5 or 6 years. So it's going to get GLONASS. It's going to get the US GPS system. Average satellite counts for this model have been on average like 20 to 28 satellites that it will connect to, whereas our previous generation models only had like 14 to 18 at best. So which that turns out to be quicker notifications. When the device sees movement change quicker, you do get quicker notifications. So the 1510 is the best model that we have right now. So
that's awesome.
It is a wire-in model. We do have the 514, which is battery powered. So say you've got heavy equipment or a trailer that you just, it's a pipe trailer or even your car hauler, and you don't necessarily have a battery on it to run it. You can put one of these up into the C channel. It's going to last for 5 years on the battery power that it has.
Wow.
And the way it gets 5 years of service is it does just report 4 times per day. So every 6 hours, it sends a report in for 5 years. Now you can change that. There should be a little slider bar coming out, I believe next quarter in the firmware, where you can do less pings per day and you'll get more battery power, or you can do more pings per day. But you're going to start cutting that 5 years battery power down to like 3 years overall. But it does have an active track mode. So in the event that it is stolen, you can send it into active track and it will ping every 5 minutes.
Wow.
But obviously you have to wait. It has to wait till the next scheduled check-in window before it can turn itself into that active track mode. So yeah, so there's options there. And like I say, for the waterproof model for $150, it is hard to beat the coverage that you get from that. And we get text messages and emails all the time where they're like, I love this. Like, I didn't realize how much I stressed about going out places, whether it was just to stop and eat food and they don't see their car, knowing that they can walk out of the restaurant and, their car's still there. They didn't get a text message saying it was moving or that somebody was messing with it because the bump alert went off. So
that's awesome.
I assume with the app, you can have multiple devices on the app at one time.
Yeah, so you can have 100 devices on the app. So essentially, when you load it up, it just it will say vehicles list. There'll be a little square that says vehicle list, and you click the square, and it's got your vehicles. If you want to see them all on a map, you just press in the top corner and say map, and it puts them all on the map at the same time. So there's lots of different ways to go about doing it.
Nice.
And if you go to any of our websites, and even Six website, there's a demo that you can log into just to even look at the demo if you want. So
yeah. Wow. All right. So big shout out to Molly for sponsoring this segment. We appreciate them and all the stuff they do for us. Let's run into the AFCO part, because this is where we're going to do tips and tricks on kind of other ways to keep your car safe, to maybe deter some folks as well. So racers know when you want performance that wins, you want AFCO. From shocks and suspension to cooling brakes and more, AFCO Racing has been helping teams go faster for over 30 years. Built by racers for racers. Check out the AFCO Advantage and follow them today on social media for the latest in performance parts. AFCO Racing, built to win. All right, let's talk about some fun stuff. I didn't put any photos of anything in here, but we talked about this, Eric. It's probably been, 18 months ago, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And kind of had some backlash from it because we were giving tips away. But I think people need to think a little more, because as I get in like the old truck, I mean, we just took it to New Jersey and Manhattan and all that kind of stuff. And while we were with it all the time, there were times where, I mean, it doesn't take long for somebody, literally, I mean, if somebody knew what they were doing, they could probably get the old truck pretty easy, even though it is, LS and all that kind of stuff. Like, it's still just an old truck. So one thing you did say, maybe before the show, you said when cars are typically stolen, you aren't awake. So you're not like in the restaurant and people grab it from the parking lot. You're asleep and it's 3:00 in the morning. So I thought that was pretty good. So I want to go over just a few things. What are other ways to protect from theft? And the one thing I think that I always say to my kids, and when they're laying their phones around and backpacks and purses and all that stuff, or just laying around anywhere they're at, is don't make it easy, right? Like, if they're walking in a row of cool cars and they're like, which one of these am I going to steal? Don't make yours the easy one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it makes complete sense. So don't do what you can to keep it. And like you said, most we get all our cars and everything we see it's stolen from 11 o'clock to like 4 a.m. And a lot of times, even with our tracking system and others' tracking system, we've had customers call and say, hey, we got a recovery, but I didn't get the messages, not that they didn't get the messages, that they slept through the messages, and so the device sent them 3 or 4 messages throughout the night, and they didn't notice it till the morning time. So
yeah, they got too relaxed.
Anything else? Yeah, well, when you're asleep, you're asleep. So what you don't know, you don't know, and so do what you can to secure stuff a little better. We had talked about a lot of people with F-250 trucks. What do they do whenever you talk about trying to keep it secure? Oh, well, I pull the fuel relay out of the truck before I go to a hotel, and that will do it. But it's one of those things where if that thief is looking for F-250s, he might know that's the most common way you stop an F-250 from getting stolen. So wow, he might have one in his pocket.
Yeah, talking about F-250s, that's what Calvin Nelson was driving when he had the Studebaker stolen. It was an F-250, and the Studebaker was in the trailer, in the enclosed trailer. Eric, you want to kind of alternate through some of these, and we'll see what CJ thinks about our list here?
Yeah, obviously the first one is lock your doors, right? That's step one. Don't leave your doors unlocked. I've heard people say, well, I'd rather them open the door than break the window. I mean, that doesn't always apply. And in this instance, when you're in a hotel at night, lock the doors.
Yeah. That's, if you can slow them down a little bit, that's always the thing, is to slow them down and make them take longer and possibly be seen. I've always, back, y'all are my age, so back in the day, the 2000s, what happened to old school car alarms where you walk too close to the car and the damn thing started chirping? Why is that not more common in drag and drive cars?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where all those systems went. I think what happened to those is we all grew out of that. Like we all kind of moved into horsepower instead of car audio.
Listen, you bring a race car in the parking lot, I mean, you're going to fire off every one of those alarms with that exhaust.
That's exactly what
that's
happened.
that'll be the next problem. But yeah, I mean, I just remember the days that you walk too close to a car and the thing starts chirping, and I'm like, that's one way to get them, maybe scoot on to the next car is if they, an independent alarm, because a lot of the newer alarms, they'll just cut the horn, on GMC Sierras. The easiest way to steal them is to go to the passenger wheel well, cut the felt, and then just reach your hand up there and disconnect the horn. So,
oh wow, awesome, man! Stuff you need to know there. How about, so you said this earlier when they just pull the cable out of the shifter, or they disconnect the shifter. Man, I think I'm going to drill a hole. I have a column shifter in the truck, but if I ever have a nice shifter, I'm drilling a hole through that thing, and I'm putting a lock in that mofo because I don't want people to be able to get in. But we got to go through this because we got Mark Campbell backstage here. So we'll do two at a time. So how about a removable steering wheel? If you can't steer that thing, you can't steal it. Crank the wheels all the way to the side and then pull your wheel off.
Yep, that works.
What else you got here? Replace a shitty key switch. I mean, how many old cars have those, right?
Yeah, where the key doesn't even have teeth on it anymore. It just goes in and just, as long as you make the turn, it starts,
Yeah, or you think a lot of race cars have push button starts, that don't have keys. And it's one of the things I've thought about with the Mustang. It's got a push button start, but I can wire in an aftermarket key switch that you still need before you push the button.
Mm-hmm.
And then cover your expensive parts. Like if you can see into the car and you've got stuff sitting in there, cover them up. Don't let that stuff be visible.
Yeah. And I think the one I like seeing the most is if you got a Holly or something like that, just disconnect the ECU and they're not starting it. And the only other way to really get that thing out of there is just dragging it out. Which, I mean, we've seen that happen. It's hard to stop that unless you are putting chains through the tires. Or something like that. But if you're in a drag and drive event, y'all can all pull the cars different ways, kind of blocking each other, and make it kind of a Jenga set to get it out. So
well, and that's the next two topics. There was like good locks on the trailer hitch, which you talked about, the receiver slide out. That's a good thing there. And then on the receiver hitch too. So like the receiver hitch for the slide out, but then on a trailer hitch, like having a good lock, not just some shitty $8 lock like that was on the little small trailer that I just took to Manhattan. Having a real lock on that, but then that's another one, blocking the cars in, and then a new tune. That was one of the racers suggested. That was a new tune to where the car won't even fire.
Yeah. So I mean, a new tune. I would hesitate on that just in case something doesn't go right, putting the old tune back in. But just unplugging it completely and making it look dummy plugged in might be a great option. That because if it's not getting power, you definitely aren't starting it. So
yeah, I took the ECU out of the old truck while I was on that trip one night, and dude, it took like 150 or 200 miles for that thing to act right again. But it's factory ECU stuff, so high dollar Holly stuff probably not going to do that. But that factory ECU was like, what the hell is going on here?
little fresh reset. It had to really think about it.
Yeah, it finally came back around, but that's the way it goes.
And then couple more here. Obviously, if you have a tracking system, put a decal on the window. Make it visible where somebody's going to try to get into that car. They're going to look at that and go,
think twice.
Maybe
so
not.
There's two schools of thought for that. There is if I've got a decal on there, is that really enough to scare somebody away? And it depends on how they're going to steal it. Are they just putting a rope to the bottom of it and dragging it out, or are they actually getting in there? And because if they're just going to drag it anyways, they might as well unhook the battery and start looking for something. If you knew there was a tracking device on there and you were going to steal it anyways, would you look for the tracker? Or is it better just to be completely unknown, hidden to where it can't be found? And even if they pull the battery out, your tracker still has its 3 to 4 day backup battery. There's two ways to think about that. I usually go to the camp of I don't want anybody to know that I have tracking on anything that I have, other than if they log into our demo account, they can see everything that I have. But so it's two different schools of thought for that. But yeah, we do have some people that they go, hey, do you have big decals? Well, we're going to put it on our stuff, and maybe that's enough to keep somebody away.
Again, it goes back to the first thing: don't make it easy, right?
Yeah.
If they look inside, the shifter's locked. They look inside, there's no steering wheel. They look at the back tire, and there's a cable lock that's tied to the trailer. They're like, damn, F that dude. We're going on.
Too much.
Yeah. Or beers in the parking lot. The last thing I want to mention here, and this is one that I think I'm going to put on the old truck, but is a hidden electronic parking brake with the off switch somewhere hidden where nobody knows. Because then you go to push that son of a bitch, and the back wheels are locked up. Now you're just going to drag it, but who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I like that one a lot. So that one's definitely more wiring advanced, but
for sure.
that one's a great option for keeping both dragging away, which is probably your second most popular way of stealing them. So
yeah, because I mean
actually,
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just saying
it's you talk.
I was just sitting here thinking like the 240's a stick shift, and I wonder if I could almost run a cable from the shifter, put it in, like fifth gear, and run a cable to the roll cage to where it can't come out of gear.
Yeah, I mean, you can do something like that. We see a lot of stuff like that in the side-by-side industry. They make shifter locks so that you can't pull side-by-sides out of park. So that's easily something that could be done, for you as well. Y'all probably didn't watch one of the what's his name on Face. He's a Mark Rober on YouTube. Did you guys see the video he made like 2 or 3 weeks ago where he showed people how to steal brand new cars?
What the hell?
Yeah, he had a video come out about 2 or 3 weeks ago that showed exactly how they steal brand new cars, because he said if people know how they steal cars, there's something you can do to stop it. And so if you know how to do it, and it was simple. He bought some stuff from somebody overseas somewhere. They shipped it in, and he used it, and it worked within 5 minutes of being in front of somebody's house that he knew. He stole his friend's car, but with the new key fobs. So if you've got a new key fob, I think the best way to protect your car was to actually get a certified pouch to always keep your key in. So whether you're in a hotel or out and about, if you can put that key into a RFID blocking pouch, that would be the best way. So for some of these new cars,
crazy. Man, that's nuts, dude. Thank you for hanging out tonight, man. I appreciate it. I know you're working late, and I know you probably weren't even going home yet anyways, but we appreciate it. And dude, next time I'm over in Tulsa, I'll hit you up. We'll go have lunch.
Yeah. Give us a call anytime, and we'll go do something.
Yeah, definitely. All right, guys. You can find
SickGPS. Like I said, sickgps.com. So.
Yeah. All right, CJ. Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
How cool, dude. I'm telling you, that gives me some ideas on shit I need to do for the old truck. All right.
And you and I had talked before, like, I don't like taking the 240 places because it's a convertible, right? It's easy to cut a top, and get into the car, and it's a stick shift, so you can put it in neutral and roll it away. So something like that's perfect. And then with the Mustang, like I said, it's a push button start right now. I mean, before I ever drive it, I don't even have keys to the doors, right? So I got to replace door locks and stuff before I can even drive it. So at $150 per unit and $24 per year, I mean,
that's pretty cheap.
It's a no-brainer.
Again, it's one more thing in that arsenal of like, leave my car alone. Leave my car alone. So sweet. Have you heard, is Eric Saffel and those guys going to be at Havlic's?
I'm not sure.
I'll send him a message. That's where we got to hang out last year with AFCO Racing, and him and Rex French both came up to Havlic's. Surely they're going to be there. I hope they are. So it'd be fun to hang out with those guys. And again, thanks to AFCO for being, part of the program here. All right, well, let's bust through this pretty quick. So I'm going to get Mark on here. We're late for him, but that was an interesting conversation.
Yep, for sure. Again, appreciate all of our race car friends for hanging out with us here so far. All the comments, see a bunch of people that's out at Big Sky Race Week. So appreciate you guys tuning in. And again, our race car friends sending us content from Big Sky. Appreciate all of you guys. And again, our sponsors can't do what we do without this list of companies. So again, if you're doing some shopping, please check these companies out. Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solutions, AFCO Racing Products, Performabuilt Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, PowerTube TV, and Racing Junk.
All right.
Do a quick play the ad video here, and we'll be able to jump right in.
From street miles to track passes, your fuel system has one job: perform when it matters most. At Deechworks, we engineer high-performance fuel systems built for the demands of drag and drivers. From injectors and fuel pumps to filters and regulators, every component is engineered to be reliable and consistent under real-world conditions. Whether you're chasing a personal best or driving hundreds of miles between tracks, Deechworks delivers the fuel system your build requires.
I feel like we're going to get a little nerdy all night tonight. We got nerdy with CJ, and now we're going to have some fun with Mark here. It's going to be kind of cool to bring him on, and so let's do that right now. Mr. Mark Campbell, what's your official title at Deechworks? Big badass. What do they call you guys?
Chief bottle washer, janitor.
Yeah, whatever is needed, he does it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, technically, I
like
guess director of sales and marketing, I guess, is the technical term. Yeah,
man, that's really cool. I'm really excited. You and I have known each other for a little while. You kind of met through comp and all that kind of stuff. And dude, I think this is a great place. I think your knowledge fits what Deechworks does. I mean, we've hung out with David a little bit on Rocky Mountain, and then of course at the circuit and stuff. Got to see those guys. It's just really cool, man. I think this company fits your personality very well.
Well, you know what? We have fun every day too. That's what makes going to work, worthwhile. I mean, we do a bunch of cool stuff. The business is really full of a bunch of really super cool people, plenty of car guys, girls, whatever. And we have fun, and we want to make good products that people can go out and believe in, and that's the fun part about it is making cool stuff that works.
Right. Well, and I'll tell you, I'm a believer, brother. We went through several other company fuel pumps in the old truck, and this DW400 has been just rock solid. And we've put more miles on this thing in the time since the circuit. What did we do the circuit, Eric? 2 months ago?
End of April.
Yeah, 2.5 months ago. So we've put more miles on it in that time than I have, I think, on any other pump ever.
Well, that's glad to hear that for sure. And I think you've probably heard we recently actually came out with a lifetime warranty on our products. So when you do that, you got to be pretty confident. And I'm not going to stand here and say that we're perfect. Yeah, we have stuff. Things happen. I mean, it's electronic items and stuff happens sometimes, but we test our stuff to the max.
That's what I was going to say next. The 40-something days of testing, like a 500,000 mile testers or 500,000 mile test. Pretty cool. If you guys are ever in Oklahoma City, go by the shop. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we love to have visitors for sure. And yeah, we got some pretty cool test benches set up for injectors and fuel pumps and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I mean, a fuel pump, when we develop a new fuel pump, it doesn't go anywhere until it passes at least 1,000-hour endurance test. And when I'm talking 1,000 hours, I mean 1,000 hours at like 80 or 90 PSI, full load, all the amps just beating it. And I mean, we don't mess around when we test stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool to watch those test benches run. Same with injectors. I mean, we do the same thing with our injectors. So it's pretty cool. And we believe in our product for sure. When it goes out, we won't release something if it's not perfect. I mean, we've had a couple of products that just we decided to scrap at the last minute because nope, it's just not doing what we want it to do. So let's go back to the drawing board and start over.
Yeah, the list of products grows all the time too. So I think that's what's fun about watching what you guys do and all the cool stuff that's coming.
Yeah, new product release actually coming here probably July 30th, I guess.
Oh, nice.
We're kicking out another. Just a couple weeks away. We just finished up all the stuff today, actually, the email and all the data and everything like that. And product is pretty much all on the shelf at this point. So we're excited for sure.
How cool! Like even y'all's the packing and shipping and all the stuff that goes on and all that stuff was really cool. Like with the the boxes and then the tour we got really showed like how all of that stuff works. It was really neat. So I'll stop talking nerdy. The reason you're on tonight is kind of a conversation between you and Eric that you had about his fuel system, and we've talked about it. I think it's like our third or fourth time to kind of mention it now, but I wanted to have you on because I wanted you guys to get a little nerdy, because you know what we're trying to do with the car. We talked about this the whole time, was kind of get from like what was a 13-second car to now is a twin turbo LS. Like, this car is destined for 8s. I mean, that's kind of our goal, right? So that's the conversations that you guys had. So I'm going to let you guys kind of talk through parts list and why you chose them and what it is and all that kind of stuff to maybe help other people that are out there that are trying to figure this stuff out.
Yeah. I mean, ideally, right, we're building a set that anybody that's building this type of setup can come to your website and say, I want this, this, and this, and, you know, get a complete fuel system. So I reached out to you a few weeks ago. We obviously talked at the circuit, but the goal was, you know, want the car to eventually run 850s. Don't really want to go quicker than that with cage limits and stuff like that. So I said, here's the setup. Here's the goal. And then we talked back and forth kind of on what you thought would be some good suggestions. And you gave me a couple of suggestions. So I guess we'll start first. You offered an internal pump or an external pump. So kind of talk a little bit about benefits of each one of those.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously with any vehicle, especially the fuel system, there's tons of options. And I'm not going to say there's necessarily a wrong way, but it's certain applications do appreciate one way or another a little bit more. You know, certainly the inline pump or the in-tank pump both provide great solutions. Sometimes the packaging or, you know, the way that a car is, if it's got a fuel cell, and sometimes an inline pump is easier because you can just come off the sump, you can run it into your AN lines and fittings, run it up to the front of the car, and you're done. And those are very good. They're very reliable, especially with some of our new brushless pumps and things like that. They're very quiet. And they provide all kinds of fuel. I mean, we got stuff that definitely will flow enough fuel to support, you know, 1,200-1,300 horsepower, no problem on a single pump. But then the other option, of course, is in tank. And that's certainly, you know, newer technology. I mean, it's been around obviously for a while, but especially with some of these big pumps, you know, like what we ended up getting for your car, Eric, was the 810, which is certainly a very popular pump for us. It's a tiny little pump. I mean, I'm sure you got it and even pulled it out of the box and went, really? Like, yeah, it's that flows 810 liters per hour. But it's an incredible piece. Obviously, that's a brushless pump as well, too. And the cool part about brushless pumps, currently today, our controller that we run with those brushless pumps is a 2-speed deal. So it'll run on low speed or high speed. We are very diligently working on a little
Look at the size of that. Like, yeah. It fits in the palm of my hand.
Wow. Yeah. But look at that thing, got some girth on it.
Yep. Yeah, and that pump there will support 1,200 wheel horsepower on E85.
Wow.
So on a boosted application. So, I mean, it's pretty serious. So, but yeah, the controller that runs out, like I said, today it's a 2-speed operation. So when it's running, it's just on low speed. As soon as you ground a trigger wire, it goes to high speed. We are working on a PWM or pulse width modulated version of that controller that we're going to release at SEMA this year, actually. Oh, nice. I do have one of those, actually a couple of them on my car right now. I'm doing some final testing. They're actually in production already, but just doing some last little bits on there. So that's kind of the in-tank pump is really nice because obviously it's surrounded in fuel all the time. So it helps the pump stay a little bit cooler. Certainly they're even just a little bit quieter as well too, because once again, they're inside a fuel cell or a tank or whatever. And they have that fuel to help keep them cool, keep them quiet, everything like that. So the big difference, though, really comes in when you're trying to figure out a fuel system, and this will kind of go into a little bit more of a topic that we can talk about later too. But there's a big difference between just hanging a pump on a stick in a fuel cell or in a tank versus using an actual bucket as well. So we'll kind of get we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, so we ended up basically going with that 810. Well, actually, we got you 2 810s. That's probably enough fuel for about 22 to 2400 horsepower on E.
So enough to run 1090s for sure.
Absolutely. 1090s at about 198 miles an hour. Like a super comp car or something. It's just going to, off the line real slow and then charge down there. So, but kind of the reason we did that too is redundancy in a drag and drive car is a great thing. We abuse these things badly. I mean, we're doing things with them that we should never do. And yes, these pumps are extremely reliable. Obviously, like I said, the 2-speed operation is wonderful because you can cruise around all day on the pump on half speed. They're turning about 50 to 60% of their normal speed. So it's way easier on the pump. And then you can trigger it, when you get into boost or based on throttle position or something like that, you can trigger the high speed. But having a second pump in the car, never a bad idea. If like I basically say all the time, you can't overbuild something. You just literally can't. And, I've had our inline 650 pump on my car since I built it brand new a bunch of years ago, and that pump's been phenomenal. And like I said, it's an inline pump. I've recently switched it to dual 810s, similar to what Eric has on his car. 2 reasons. One is I did want to switch to an in-tank pump just because I like that a little bit better for my application when we're beating on these things hard for long periods of time. But 2, we're testing a new product actually in my car as well too. We have a new universal fuel cell hanger basically that'll hold up to 2 810s. It'll hold a couple of our 200s, 300s, 400s, whatever, or a couple of our 810s. And so I've been doing some testing on that, and that is actually a completely bucketed assembly as well too. So no matter how much fuel is in that tank, the bucket always has fuel until you're just flat out of fuel.
Yeah.
But high G's, hard acceleration and drag racing, drifting, street car use where you're going around corners fast, that's where the bucket is really, really cool. So so that's what we're working towards with like I said, I got a prototype in my car right now, but that's what's going to end up in Eric's car too when we're all done. So,
yeah, looking for serial number 002 to come out.
That's right. Exactly.
And really that was kind of one of the main reasons with going with the in-tank pump is because I really like that setup as well, and I think that's gonna be huge.
Yeah, the cool part is all those fuel cells have a flange on the top of them where you fill the fuel through. They're a 12-bolt style flange. So basically, what this thing's going to do is you're just going to remove that plastic filler, and it'll have a whole new aluminum assembly that'll bolt right into those existing bolt holes, and it'll still have a filler in there as well too, a little bit smaller hole than the original, but a filler, and then it'll have 2 pumps hanging in the tank, and an actual bucket assembly as well too that has both active and passive filling of that bucket. And this is where the cool part really comes in is, like I said, there's a lot of pumps out there that are we call them a pump on a stick. They just hang in the tank, and when you get fuel slosh, of course, you can uncover that pump very easily. So what we do is use a lot of OEM style technology in a bucket, put the pumps in the bucket. But like I said, we also use what we call active and passive filling of that bucket. So what that means is that the active filling part of that bucket is that bucket assembly actually has the return line feeding right into the bucket. So obviously, as your fuel is circulating through the system, any fuel that you're not using, which is typically, there's always some, that fuel is going to go back into the bucket and always keep that bucket full. The second part is the passive filling. And we have a very unique technology. I won't tell you too many top secret things about it, but basically we have some one-way valves that we put inside that bucket, and it'll allow fuel to flow into the bucket, but it will not allow fuel to come out of the bucket. So if there's any fuel at all, and typically these valves are right at the bottom of the assembly, it will allow that fuel to flow in, but it won't allow it to flow out. So once again, you have 2 ways to fill that bucket, either through those passive fills or through the active fills. So you can have a tank that's got a gallon of fuel in it, like say it's a 10-gallon fuel cell, and you have a gallon of fuel in it. Well, that might be, barely an inch of fuel in the bottom of the cell, that bucket is still going to be 100% full. And most of those buckets are, 6 to 10 inches tall, depending on, the one that's this prototype that's in my car is about 6.5 inches tall. So that bucket, it's going to be, 4 inches around. It's still going to be full of fuel. So you're still going to have probably 3/4 of a gallon of fuel plus the gallon that's in there. But the primary thing is that that bucket is full. The pumps are fully submerged in fuel, and they'll still have that head pressure to help feed that pump and keep those pumps cool. So
interesting.
That's the real difference in what we do at Deechworks versus a lot of other companies.
Now you make me feel like an idiot because, dude, the first thing I did when I put the pump in, back in the day, when I put the pump in the truck, I was like, I don't need this. Like, the bucket right out. Now I'm like, God damn, where did I throw that thing?
Well, I mean, OEs aren't dumb. I mean, sometimes they do dumb things when they put cars together, but the technology that they use is really awesome. And all these new vehicles all have a bucket, and the fuel pump is in the bucket, and that's why they work so well because everybody drives their cars until the fuel tank's empty. And guess what used to happen is when you did that, you'd kill your intake pump very quickly. So all these always figure out, hey, we should put a bucket in there. And they use Venturi fill and all kinds of interesting things, similar technology to what we're using, but we're doing it a little bit differently. But keeping that bucket full makes the fuel pump just way happier. And when you're going around corners fast and accelerating hard, it keeps that fuel in the fuel pump all the time. So we're using that same technology. We do that for our performance modules. They are still a plastic looking type module. Obviously it's all our design with a DW 300 or 400 pump in it. And then we also have our X2 and X3 modules, which is similar to what we're talking about for Eric's car, which obviously X2 means 2 pumps, X3 means 3 pumps. But no matter what we do, 1, 2, or 3 pumps, there's a good example there. We have, a bucket that actually goes around. So you see the picture on the left there is the 2 pumps, or actually I guess that would be a 3 pump assembly. And that orange aluminum triangular looking piece actually goes down into the bucket. And that's what maintains all that fuel around the thing.
Yeah, this setup on the right side, I like how you guys, I think our fueling problem was cured by rerouting some wiring, but this is much easier to wire. Like you're literally, you're not trying to drill a hole, which is, basically what we had to do to make the last pump work. We basically drilled a hole and then, basically epoxied that hole closed. We've since remedied that, but we were trying to get through it. You know what I mean? So the new pump is wired correctly, but this is a great way. This is awesome to be able to put this in. You guys make a ton of stuff for factory replacement pieces and things like that, but we're getting off topic. Walk us through the rest of the system there.
So obviously we got it. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, next up we've got the injectors. So we went with a 1500 cc injector here. So kind of let everybody know kind of why the 1500 cc.
Well, once again, obviously we're trying to build this thing for a bunch more power than what you're making technically speaking right now. So we stepped it up a little bit. And of course, it used to be the big fear was, I can't put a great big injector in it because it won't drive good. It won't be good at low RPM, low load, light throttle. That's the beauty of course, today's injector, and especially what we do with our injectors. We definitely do some different things with them, but the key is really getting a good, and everybody talks about flow matched. That's a very, very small part of it, but getting good balanced injector data as well. Having all 8 injectors or 4 or 6, however many you have, having them all act the same is very, very, very important. And what I mean by act the same is at a certain voltage, at a certain pulse width, they all flow the same amount of fuel. So it's, and getting the voltage, the on-off times on the injectors, all those types of things is extremely important. When we test a set of injectors, we actually do it 3 times before they go out the door. So the first go around, we have large batches of injectors. We do all of our modifications to them and everything like that. We flow them and then we put them in large batches. They're all matched within probably at that point about 5% or something, which is probably better than what most people do. But they're kind of batched like that. Then what we do is the next step is they go to another station and a different machine, and they get flowed and tested, and a whole bunch of data points taken. Typically on every injector, we use about 450 data points. We actually take several thousand data points, but we use around 450 data points on each injector. Wow. So then at that point, we take and we really truly match them throughout the entire range. So at very, very low pulse width, medium, and of course, wide open, typically in that 85 to 90% duty cycle range. And then that's pretty much the final match at that point, but they go on the shelf at that point. You order some injectors. We don't just send them out the door at that point. We actually pull them back off the shelf one more time out of that box, and we actually run them again the third time before they go to you. So we know that they're pretty much all ready to go, but it's one last check, so that even if those injectors have sat on the shelf for, well, at this point, they don't sit on the shelf very long because we're very busy. But if they sat on the shelf for one day or maybe a month or maybe 6 months for some reason, they at least get tested again right then and there. We know that they're good the day before they go out. So yes, it takes an extra day or two to ship that set of injectors, but they're very, very close. We know that they're happy and good at that point. So, and like I said, that 1500 cc injector in pounds per hour, that's 150, 160 pounds per hour injector, you can put in a car and drive it around at very, very low pulse width, at low load. I mean, that's the exact same injector that I run in my drag and drive car. And the car drives like beauty. I mean, I can idle the thing at whatever air fuel ratio I want. I mean, it can go from, I can go from 13.2 to 13.5 to 13.7 to 13.9 to, like I can dial it in within a tenth or two on the air fuel ratio, which for a larger injector like that is pretty good. But they'll still support, 1,500 horsepower, no problem at all. So
I love it when we can get to a point like in car building where you can it's somebody's, like that's their life is to figure that out, right? Like used to, that dude, he wasn't building injectors for cool hot rods. He was, he was an architect or he was an engineer for other stuff that wasn't as cool, but like now we have this opportunity. It's pretty neat.
Yep. Oh, technology is pretty cool thing for sure.
Yeah.
And then one thing I wanted to ask you, and I hadn't asked you this yet, but I had a conversation with somebody local, and they were asking me why 1,500 cc and not like a 2,200 cc. And my response is this is what was suggested, so that's what I'm going to run because I trust who I'm getting it from. But really, when would somebody want to go from like a 15 to a 22?
Well, the good news is that for the most part, a 1,500 to 2,000, 2,200 cc injector will all work about the same in the low speed in today's type of injector. But there is a point where it's just absolutely way too big. If we put a 22 or a 2,400 cc injector in your car, it's going to be going down the racetrack at 50% duty cycle, probably even less than that. So it's just really unnecessary. I mean, if you told me, obviously you built a car that used to run 12s and 13s, and now we're going to run 8s or 9s with it eventually. Perfect. If you told me, eventually I want to run 6s or 7s with it, well, yeah, I probably would have got you a 22 or a 2,400 cc injector. But yeah, we try and base it off of the goals, the end goal of what you want to do with the car. A 1,500 cc injector on E85 will support a lot of power for sure. Yeah. And you have room to grow too. Like you can always raise fuel pressure and do things like that to make the injector act larger, because all of our injectors are rated at 43 PSI, 3-bar. So you can run them at 4-bar, 5-bar, more than that, obviously too, which of course affects how much they flow. But yeah, there's a point where, I will typically say, you can't overbuild something. Well, you can to a point with an injector because you will lose a small amount of resolution down low. And I always like to try and keep as much resolution down low as I possibly can, given the circumstances. And obviously you're saying, hey, we want to run 8s. So that means we're going to have to make, 1,300 horsepower on E85, a 1500 cc. It'll do that all day long. Probably you'd be in the 75 to 80% duty cycle range on that injector, which is a sweet spot, and you're golden.
See, and that's why you ask an expert and not just order the big one because you think it's what you need.
Yeah. But my buddy runs 2200s and his drives great. And the whole time his 2200 CC buddy's going, God, I hate the way this thing drives. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's that case where a lot of people buy, like the Bosch 210 injector is very, very popular, and that's a right around a 2000 cc injector. But the downside to those is that they're, especially if you're just buying them randomly, they're very poorly balanced. I mean, you can have them 8-10% different very easily from cylinder to cylinder. You typically don't get good injector data with them as well, so you can't load your Holley or your Fuel Tech or your whatever ECU that you're running with the proper data. Like my car, for example, I've had a set of 750cc injectors in it. I've had a set of 1000cc injectors in it. I've had a set of 1500cc injectors in it, and I can literally swap the injectors, put the correct data in the ECU, and the car fires up like it's never shut off. The tune is perfect. I mean, everything about the VE table is spot on, and that's all due to proper injector data. The proper voltages, the proper on-off times, knowing what the thing flows within a certain percentage. That's the beauty of having good injector data, is that I could be in the middle of a drag and drive and pull my 1500s out and put 2200s in, and I know that I could go make a pass down the racetrack wide open throttle first time and not have to worry about the thing killing itself, because good data, good flow numbers, and you can. That's the beauty of having a good injector that's actually flow tested, and that's why they cost more too. Plain and simple. Yeah. You get what you pay for.
Yep.
So.
Right.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
I was
you're
going to
good.
say, I want to talk about fuel regulator and then definitely the fuel line thing.
Yep. Fuel regulator was what I was going to bring up next. So tell us a little bit about which fuel regulator we're using.
Yeah, so basically it's a little more complicated than this, but we basically have two regulators. We try and make it very, very simple for people, and we got a few variations, but we have our 1000 and our 2000. You have the 2000, which is obviously the bigger one of the two. That one will flow well over 2,000 liters per hour, which will support anything, basically. The 1000 supports around 1,000 liters per hour, which will still support a lot of everything. But we just put the little bit bigger one on there, obviously, just to give you a little more headroom. The regulator itself, as long as typically really on a regulator, you can't oversize it, but you can technically undersize it a little bit. And more of the undersize is like on the return style, because if it's not returning enough fuel, especially if you have a really big pump, and hence why we have two 810s that we've given to Eric for his car. That's why I gave him the bigger regulator too, because if you do end up putting both pumps on at the same time and it's just idling around, you need a big regulator to try and return more fuel. So that's why we did put the bigger regulator on there. But yeah, our 1000 and our 2000, slightly different sizes. Typically the 1000 we're using a -6. Typically on the 2000 we're using a -8 or even a -10. But we do use 8s. The 8 can go on the small one as well too. And I know we're going to talk about fuel line size and stuff like that coming up too, which I'll explain that a little bit further. But that's basically, we have two regulators that we use. We also do have a carbureted version as well now too. So we can do 3 to 7 psi or 3 to 9 psi carbureted stuff. It is a return style regulator, and all of our regulators are return style regulators. Obviously EFI needs to be a return. Well, it doesn't need, has to be, but there are some deadhead systems in EFI, which that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But return is the way to go, even on a carbureted application. It keeps the fuel cooler, obviously, because the fuel is always moving through the rails then, circulating back to the tank. Hopefully you don't have half a gallon in the tank or something, and then you're going to potentially heat up the fuel, obviously. But But always keeping that fuel moving is very, very important, and having the right size fuel lines obviously is part of that too.
Well, and I want to talk about that next, but the regulator makes me think. Eric's conversation, Eric Reisner says, love to know what a good way to keep fuel from boiling. This is a real problem out at Rocky Mountain Race Week at some altitude and 100-degree temps. I'm sure people are seeing it at Big Sky Race Week, being over 100 this week too. So twofold. One person had mentioned about the orifice size inside a lot of the regulators. And that was creating a bunch of heat because you're literally going, you're trying to fuel there, but the flow out of the return, even though it may be a -6 on some of these other regulators, was still so small that it was really heating up a lot of the fuel because it was just driving that right into the regulator. So that was one. And then, of course, it's like fuel line size too.
Yep. So, yeah, the heating up the fuel thing can be caused by plenty of different things, but certainly the two most common issues that you're going to come across is, one, a regulator that's just not simply big enough to bypass that fuel properly. And two, sometimes just having too much fuel pump for what you're trying to do at a certain level. So, for example, we got lots of cars out on, drag and drives that are making 1,000 horsepower more. So they need a lot of fuel. They're going to need, typically 1,000 horsepower, we're going to say, is at least 500 to 600 liters per hour of fuel. Well, and this is a very general rule of thumb, but driving around on a pump just at idle and cruise, say at 2,000 RPM, that flows more than around 400 liters per hour, typically is going to start to heat up your fuel. Because the pump is pumping 400 liters per hour and the regulator is trying to bypass a lot of fuel. So that's why we like the 2-speed style controllers for these brushless pumps. Because, and if you think about the math here, our big 810 at half is about 400 liters per hour. So that's why we have set up the controller to run about half speed. Obviously, like the 650 and stuff like that, half is around 300, 325, somewhere in that area. So it kind of maintains under that 400 liter per hour range. I mean, we're working on some new pumps now that are going to be 1,000, 1,200, whatever liters per hour, but they'll be able to be pulse width modulated. So we don't even want to run those at 50%. We want to run those things at 20, 30% to get them under that 400 liter per hour, kind of that magic number, right? So keeping the fuel flow under 400 liters per hour at all times, unless you're under hard power, is important. And then having the correct size regulator to return the fuel. And then, yes, we're going to get into now fuel line size.
Well, before we jump into that, do we want to cover the last thing that we got here?
Sure.
Yes. The inline filter here.
Yep.
So you got a couple different options for these as well. Obviously, if you're doing an external one, you've got an additional filter, but with an in-tank one, you just need the one. So talk a little bit about this, then we'll jump into the lines.
Yeah, for sure. So filters extremely important. Can't say, I mean, it's like an oil filter on your engine. I mean, you wouldn't run no oil filter on your engine, so why would you not run a fuel filter? I guess if you got a flathead Ford, maybe you don't have an oil filter, but probably not too many people on here have one of those. No. But yes, micron rating obviously is a big deal on the fuel filters. Typically, and there's lots of different variations in this range, but the most common is a 10 micron and 100 micron. We have some 5s, we have some 30s and 40s and different things like that too. But typically what you want to do is you want to have a filter before the pump. Now, for example, on an in-tank pump like what Eric has, it's going to have a sock on the bottom of the pump that's going to obviously be your pre-filter. That's going to keep the bigger junk out of it. And that's where that number comes in, the 100 and the 10. Of course, that's literally the size of the micron that it's gonna pick up. So you're gonna have something that's gonna be a little bit more coarse filter before the pump, and then after the pump, you're gonna have something that's finer, like what you have there, the 10 micron. That's what you basically want, is you want a 10 or a 5, somewhere in that area before the fuel gets to the injector. Obviously, the other thing on a fuel filter is the physical size of the cartridge. So that one that you have obviously is our big guy. It's got I mean, that thing is capable of flowing well over 1,000 liters per hour of fuel. So, I mean, it'll support 2,000 plus horsepower type scenarios. That's our 160. We also have a 110 millimeter, and then we also have a 70 millimeter, and that's the physical size of the element. And plain and simple, it's all about square inches. Obviously, that is our biggest one that we have. The neat part about our filters too is they are actually a dual stage filter. So obviously they have the media in them, and it's all stainless, so it's good with E85, E10, E15, straight gas, whatever fuel you want to run, basically. Even methanol, that filter is good for. But the dual stage part is cool. So the media is obviously the 10, 100 micron, whatever, but we also have a magnet inside of the end of that. So as the fuel comes into the filter, it has to actually pass over a magnet. So if there's any big pieces in your fuel system, specifically metallic, like a pump is coming apart or something like that, it'll catch those large pieces on the magnet, and then it'll go through the media and go through. So less chance of you having junk go into your fuel system and obviously kill your injectors or anything like that. So yeah, a couple kind of cool things that we do with our filters there. And they're all ORB fittings on them. So it's a 10 ORB that goes in, so you can size it down to a 6 or a 4 or whatever you want with an adapter. Most of those all come with fittings and stuff like that as well too. But yeah, that's the kind of the general gist of the filters and why you want, typically 2 filters in a system, one before the pump, one after the pump, obviously one to protect the pump, one to protect the injectors.
Yeah, back when I was carbureted, you got the side small block Chevrolet pump there. It got to the point where the diaphragm wouldn't diaphragm anymore because there was so much rust caked up in the bottom of it. So
Absolutely.
That's a great way to try and figure out how you're getting home, is when you're like, I don't know. So
no doubt.
All right. Well, that moves us into the lines then. So that's kind of the last piece here that we'll talk through. So in a system like we're building here, what do you recommend for line size, and then kind of why that direction?
Yep. So once again, you can't really go too big, but there's a point of ridiculousness, obviously. Typically, the general rule of thumb, and of course, this is a general rule of thumb, and this is on EFI systems because carbureted is different. But generally speaking, a number 6 line for the feed will support 800, 900 horsepower, somewhere in that area. Yes, you could probably go to 1,000. You're probably pushing your luck a little bit, but it'd go there if everything was perfect. Typically, once you get to over 900, you want to go to a number 8, and then number 8 will typically take you to 1,200, somewhere in that area. Then you step up to a number 12, obviously. Or a 10 will take you to, probably close to 2,000 horsepower, and then a 12 beyond that. Typically, you only need to go to 12 when you're running like methanol or something like that, where you need literally double the fuel volume of gasoline. The easy way, a lot of people ask me, well, hey, what, a number 6 line, what does that compare to? Well, number 6 is pretty much like a 3/8. And some people know this, some people don't. So AN is basically an Army Navy spec for size, but a lot of people don't even know what that means. Well, it's in 16ths of an inch. So for example, a 6 is a 6/16. A 8 is an 8/16. Well, that's easy math. 8/16 is what? That's half inch, right? So, and 6/16 is basically the same as 3/8. So obviously that's, it's just math, and I didn't ask anybody to do math here tonight. So, but that's basically what AN is it's in 16ths of an inch in increments. So you got a 4, you got a 6, you got an 8, you got a 10, you got a 12, you got a 16. So you just put the 16th in front of it or in back of it, and you know what the size is. So when it comes to that, yeah, like your car, for example, an 8 or a 10 would be a good choice for what you're doing, Eric. If you want to go a little bigger, you can go 10. 8 will definitely do it for you for sure. Then the next thing is return line. That obviously comes into play with multiple things. One is, how much fuel will your regulator that you're using bypass? How much do you need to bypass based on how large your fuel pump is? So that's when I typically go to the whole 400 liters per hour scenario is, okay, you need a regulator that's going to be able to move that kind of fuel. Pretend like the engine isn't running. You want to be able to bypass all that fuel, right? So that's when you start doing the math there. It's that you're just doing it backwards from, okay, this is what the engine needs, but what's going back to the tank too. And if it's not big enough going back to the tank, that means your pump's going to get backed up. The fuel's going to get hot. You're going to cause other issues. You may start to aerate the fuel. There's lots of different things that can happen. But typically, once again, 800 horsepower, we'll say a 6 and a 6. That's a perfect choice. Once you go a little bit beyond that, like when you need to step up to an 8 feed, a lot of times a 6 will still be enough. And I would typically say that once you get over that 1,000 horsepower range, 1,200, somewhere in that area, you're going to want to, that's when you're going to go to your 10 AN feed. That's when I would say time to step up to an 8 return. And same thing, if you have if you need a 12 feed, you should probably have a 10 return. So usually, one step below whatever your feed is what is acceptable for your return. Obviously, there's lots of different scenarios. What type of fittings are you using? Are they good flowing fittings? Are they machined nicely? Are they tapered inside? How many bends do you have? A 45 isn't so bad. A 90 is more bad. A 180 is really bad. And I'm not saying that it's bad, but like every time the fuel has to turn a corner, that creates a potential slowdown in the flow, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm saying, a number 6 line will support 1,000 horsepower, it will in a perfect scenario. If you have all straight lines, if you have nice, tapered fittings, if the inside diameter is actually properly sized, because there's plenty of AN lines out there and fittings for that matter that are way smaller than they're actually supposed to be on the inside. They taper down in certain spots. So like I said, in a perfect world, a number 6, it'll support 1,000 horsepower, but typically you're never in a perfect scenario. So if you're not sure, just step it up one size, especially if you're starting from scratch. If you're not sure and you think, 6 is probably okay, you should probably put an 8 in it. If you're maybe an 8's probably good enough, put a 10 in it. It doesn't really cost much more to step up one size, and
then to figure it out later. When you've got your entire system put in there, you're like, this isn't big enough.
And none of us ever build a car to not go faster later. So
not ever. Just
do it now, and then you're good. So general rule of thumb, number 6, 800, number 8, 1,000, 1,200, number 10, 1,500, and then 12 above that. So,
and you guys have PTFE lines or E85. You guys have all the fittings and everything as well, correct?
Yes. We basically have 2 different styles of fuel lines. We have CPE and PTFE. I could tell you exactly what those mean, but I know the words, but I cannot pronounce them. So we're not gonna go there. But basically, CPE is like a standard rubber line. It's just fine for regular gas, even E15, no problem at all. But if you go to an E85 or obviously methanol, you definitely want to go to the PTFE. I mean, that's basically a line that's got it's Teflon. I'm not allowed to say Teflon because that's, whatever, copyrighted or something like that. But it's got a plastic liner inside of it that won't corrode with any type of, ethanol is very corrosive. Methanol obviously is really corrosive. So anytime you're running a higher ethanol content fuel, you want to go with PTFE.
Interesting. All right. Well, dude, thank you for getting nerdy with me there for a minute. I appreciate that. That was kind of fun. I learned a bunch there and learned. I probably need to be talking to you about some injectors for the truck, because right now they're just decaps, and who knows what that. I had them flowed and I got a close match, but dude, I probably need to do that again.
Like I said, the
3 years and
the flow match helps for sure, but really the data behind the injector, the on-off times, all those types of things are probably 10 times more important than the actual flow.
Oh,
and
for
flow is
sure.
important, but
Yeah.
all the other stuff matters way more for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I mean, these are close. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
who knows? One's got 75, 78, one's got 72, and suddenly you're in real trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to the last little bit here. Again, thank you to Deechworks and the team, dude. You guys are awesome. This whole segment was brought, tonight by you guys. So we appreciate all the stuff you do, and obviously the knowledge. I mean, we've had conversations like this quite a bit with everybody there. I mean, it's really cool to have the knowledge like that in somebody that we can talk to. So if you guys out there and that are listening or watching this, if you have questions like this, what we're talking about tonight, or what you're going to be building next, I mean, hit us up. We can get you in touch with Mark. We can get you in touch with any of the technical people there at Deechworks or anything like that. And again, please, if you're in Oklahoma City, please go by there. Those guys love entertaining people, and the warehouse and all the stuff there is super cool. I mean, it's really a neat place to go and hang out, and y'all have, it's laid back in there. So appreciate that. All right, let's do this last bit here, and then we'll talk about some fun stuff, and not necessarily fuel system stuff, but then we'll kind of wrap this thing up. Hit it, Eric.
Performabuilt is the official transmission builder of Drag Drive Repeat. At Performabuilt Transmissions, their goal is to engineer and build the toughest transmissions on the planet. Performabuilt doesn't just rebuild transmissions, they systematically re-engineer each model to eliminate OEM flaws and to achieve the highest levels of performance. That is why they say their transmissions are not just built, they are Performabuilt.
For sure. All right, so we talk about drag and drive all the time because that's what we do. You have a drag and drive car. I mean, you've done a bunch. We were so excited for the circuit and this 850 class that was being built. Sadly, didn't work out for you. The 850 class was incredibly tight. It was a lot of fun. I cannot imagine watching from afar and knowing, man, you could have been right in the middle of that battle, but that just brings you back with more want for next year, right? So
Yep.
we won't get into that hurtful thing, but the question I typically have is like, what is the abuse from like drag and drive? Because you guys do a lot of drift stuff because you have drop-in hats for factory tanks and stuff that a lot of people use for drift cars. What has all of that like helped as far as like what has that abuse helped you guys build long term in your product line?
It's everything, quite honestly. I mean, we try and learn as much as we possibly can from what happens on the street, on the racetrack, on a drift track, whatever it is. I mean, typically those scenarios are worst case. It's drag and drives, it's always hot. We're idling cars around on big fuel pumps and doing all kinds of crazy things, kind of like we talked about, getting fuel hot and stuff like that. Drift cars, man, I mean, there's nothing on this earth from an engine builder's standpoint or a fuel system standpoint, transmissions, tires, rear ends, there's nothing on earth that's harder than a drift car. Maybe you could talk about like powerboat racing, riverboat racing and stuff. I've done some of that in the past, and that's just brutal, especially on engines. But yeah, that stuff is very hard on the fuel system. And yeah, we try and take all that data. I mean, like I said, we're not perfect. We do have failures from time to time, but we always want those failed parts back, and we're trying to investigate, okay, what happened? Did it get hot? Did a rotor spin on a shaft? Did the brushes and commutator fall apart? Did a wire break inside of it from vibration? Like what happened? So being a part of, I'm just going to say, motorsports in general is everything. Our director of product development, Matt Patrick, I mean, he is crazy, honestly, when it comes to testing. Like, we'll do testing on something and he's like, yeah, testing went pretty good. And I'm like, oh, cool. So the part's ready to go. And he's like, no, hold on. We got to do this. And then we got to do that. And I'm like, I'm just sales guy. Like, I just want to sell this stuff. Like, let's go, let's go. And he's like, nope. Wow. We got to test this. We got to do that. So yeah, it's exciting to be a part of that for sure, because we listen to what the customer says. We look and see what's happening in the marketplace, and we do our damnedest to try and build the best part that we can based on that information that we're getting. So it's fun for sure.
Just sitting here thinking about drifting and how much different it is than drag and drive. We are hard because we drive around and we're putting 1,000 miles on these cars in a week, and we're holding them wide open throttle,
Yep.
a couple times a day, things like that. But for those drift guys, the on off, like basically kicking that pedal to keep that pump. I bet that thing just takes a way worse beating than what we show it.
Oh yeah, they're singing all the time, and we talked about the bucket and keeping the fuel pump submersed in gas or ethanol or whatever. That's so huge in those cars because the G's are crazy, and you got to think it's sliding this way, then it's sliding this way, then it's accelerating hard, then it's braking, then the fuel's everywhere but where it should be. So having for one, a pump that can be very resilient, obviously, if it does go dry for a second or two is important, but also, like I said, creating that product that has the technology to keep the pump surrounded with fuel all the time is huge. I don't want to give away too many secrets, but we got something super, super cool coming at SEMA that's not necessarily product related, but just like a demo thing we're kind of putting together. And it's just going to be really cool to show really what's happening in a fuel tank in a drift car, a drag car, off-road vehicles too. That's a market that we've started to get into a lot more, because you got to think these Jeeps and all these crazy rigs are going off-road, and whether they're just rock crawling at 2 miles an hour or they're going up some crazy hill at 80 miles an hour at wide open throttle, the fuel once again is not where it's supposed to be at any time. So all this technology that we're working on it applies to everything, whether it's a street car or an off-road truck. So we use that data, we take it to heart for sure, and really try and watch it.
That's why I'm not going to any drift stuff. I'm not going to do it because I'll be like, I need one of those.
As I'm going this weekend, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Tell us what you're doing this weekend, Eric.
Yep.
Yeah, there's I don't know if you have heard of Fuel Fest before, but it's in Chicago this weekend, and I by coincidence I came across it, and I will be in Chicago this weekend with my kid at a podcast, and I'm like, all right, we're making a detour on the way, so we're going to stop there and check that out before we go to his podcast.
Yeah, that'll be cool for sure.
All right, real quick. What the heck is this white car in the background? We know the black car, but what's the white car?
Top secret stuff, man.
Oh, okay.
So, not really. No. So that car, before I had my black car there, I just call it my purple car. We used to call it Barney, actually. It was a 90s Fox body, whatever. It had a turbocharged small block Ford in it. It was a drag radial car. And when I sold that car, I actually took this white car on partial trade. Wasn't sure I was going to keep it, whatever. Long story short, I kind of fell in love with it because I'm stupid and I like cars. And so the car, when I got it, had just a basic 6-liter in it with a turbo 350 in it. It's just a nice driver, normally aspirated deal. And anyways, I fell in love with it. And of course, it's become completely carried away. First thing I did, I put a 4L80E in it, just wanted an overdrive so that I could drive it and have some fun with it, keep the RPMs down. And then, of course, I got this dumb idea, I need more power. So as you know, I used to work at Edelbrock and had a lot of friends that were still there, and they were developing their new 3100 rotor pack supercharger. When I left, we were actually working on that project, and I had kind of been talking to the product manager of the supercharger division. He's like, "Oh, your white car would be perfect. We want to put one of those on there." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." Right. Well, the project took a while, and I left, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, probably a year ago, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, you still want to put that blower on your car?" And I was like, yeah, of course. So got this prototype blower done, and it's super cool. So anyways, the car now has a 3100 kind of prototype supercharger on it from Edelbrock. It's got their new boost control. So it's a supercharger with boost control in it.
Oh, interesting.
And I've been using the car as kind of an R&D test mule. Quite honestly, I've been had some fuel pump stuff on there that I've been testing. Actually, I have literally a new set of injectors that are in my garage right now that are going to go in this car. Well, maybe it was going to be today, but I ran out of time. But sometime in the next couple of days, there's going to be a new set of prototype injectors in there. It's got the 3100 blower on it. Wow. Right now, it's just pretty much a stock short block 6-liter with some LS3 heads. But I may or may not have an LS3 aluminum block with some Molly Power Pack pistons and a nice 4-inch crank and some H-beam rods and a bunch of stuff sitting in my garage right now that I'm probably putting together so I can get more carried away with the project. Because, like it makes 10 pounds of boost right now and probably makes 800 horsepower. And that's just silly because I need 1,000. So,
yeah, you can't stop at 800, especially 822 wheel. Might as well be 1,000.
Exactly. So we did take it to the track a couple weeks ago here, and I had a couple little issues going on with a few things, but the car still ran pretty darn good, and we were just kind of doing some testing on the boost controller and stuff like that, and it's super cool. Like it's an app-based boost controller. You go, I want 6 pounds of boost. It makes 6 pounds of boost. You make 10 pounds. You tell it 10 pounds, makes 10 pounds. Like
that's incredible.
Yeah. The supercharger is basically pulleyed right now to make about 20 pounds of boost. And with the boost controller wide open, it'll make 2 pounds.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
It is just so cool. Yeah. Like I'm used to turbocharged stuff, which obviously you can dial the boost up, but that thing actually now has a boost controlled supercharger on it. And you get the advantage of that, a positive displacement blower that, I mean, you look at the gas pedal and it makes 2 pounds of boost. So the car is pretty fun to drive for sure. It's a tire melter. Yeah.
Oh, I bet. We need to work on short circuit timing better for next year.
If I wasn't at SEMA, that car literally was going to go to the short circuit. Like when you told me, hey, we're going to do the short circuit, I'm like, cool, I'm in. And then unfortunately it ended up being the Saturday of SEMA. And don't worry, I'm still trying to figure out a way that I could maybe dodge SEMA on the last day and fly home real quick and drive my car to Paragould, Arkansas and
awesome.
Still do it. But chances are I probably can't. But
dude, that's the way it goes. You know what I mean? That's the way. If you showed up on Saturday morning, we'd at least let you run with us.
Well, don't be surprised if I do. See when I get home on either Friday night or Saturday morning. I mean, it's only like 2 hours away from me. So, yeah. You never know. So,
yeah, we'll be running all afternoon. So that'd be perfect. That'd be you'd be wiped out, but it'd be amazing to have you. So, what's the future of Drag and Drive, dude? What are you seeing from your side? You've done it for a while. What's kind of fun? What's caught your eye that's out in the world?
I just love, for one, I mean, I think the most important part about Drag and Drive is the camaraderie. I mean, I've been racing literally my whole life. I mean, I started going to the racetrack with my dad when I was 5 years old, and I'm just going to turn 50 here next year, and I don't want to stop anytime soon. But the people, I mean, you go out to the tracks and you have a blast, and racing in general is fun, but the Drag and Drive thing is just the next level. You get to race with them during the day, then you get to cruise with them all night, and you stay up way too late and you break your stuff and you fix it on the side of the road, and you think this is insane. And when you finish the Drag and Drive, you're like, oh my God, I'm never going to do this again. And then 2 days later, you're like, when's the next one? So that's the number one thing for me is the people. Love the people, but the different cars, I love that. I mean, you can have just the craziest stuff show up. And then the different classes, once again, you have different people trying to do different things. Some just trying to go as fast as they can. Some trying to run a number, obviously. So that makes it super cool. And now the addition of these 1, 2, 3 day Drag and Drives, I think is just going to take it to the next level. Not everybody can take a week off, or really, when you think about it, it's probably more like 2 weeks because you got to prep and then you got to rest after. So it's like 2 weeks. But no, I love what's happening with these, 1, 2 day, 3 day type Drag and Drives. I mean, it's just going to take the sport to the next level. And I mean, as you know, we're so behind it with Beachworks. I mean, we love it. We're not forgetting about the other stuff we do. Obviously, we do tons of streetcar stuff. We do tons of drift stuff. We do tons of everything. But we love the Drag and Drive stuff. And we got our owner, obviously, David Deach, this year to come out to a Drag and Drive. He had a little oil pan failure with his 4G 63 engine, but we're working on fixing that. So, but no, we're all in as a company and just love what's going on because it offers something to everyone. And the primary example is Dave, our owner. So prior to the drag and drive, I'm like, Dave, you got to come, you got to come, you got to come. So he gets this Volvo Amazon with the 4G63, and we convince him that, hey, that's a perfect car. We'll put some drag radials on it. But like weeks before, he's just like so worried, like, oh, my car is so slow, or I'm not going to fit in, or this, that. I'm like, Dave, there's going to be stuff there that's 20 seconds in the quarter mile, and there's going to be stuff that's going to be 6 seconds in the quarter mile. And I said, nobody cares how fast the car is, but if you show up with something cool, they're going to love it. Well, as you know, I mean, everybody loved that car. It was super cool. Yeah. And the thing ends up running like low 12s, and it was leaving horrible off the starting line. I mean, it's an 11-second car all day long. Yeah. And it's going to be probably faster than that now with this new engine that we're going to build for it. But that's the cool part, is that it's a stick shift 4G63 and a Volvo Amazon. I mean, where do you see that?
Dude, nowhere. I don't know. That's the only one I've ever seen.
Yeah. So that's what I love about drag and drive. Is
Eric was tired of me talking about that car, to be honest. He was like, bro, we get it at school. I'm like, no, man, it's really cool.
No, I mean, honestly, when I built my Mustang for drag and drive, the Mustang was the last platform I actually wanted to build, but it just ended up that's the car that I ended up getting. I ended up trading a buddy for some stuff and whatever. And long story short, and I had a whole bunch of parts for it. And so I just,
and they work,
Oh, they do. I mean, the cars are great for sure, but there's lots of them, but that's the cool is you can see some of those with actually that car was originally going to get Gen 3 Hemi, and then we ended up putting an LS3 or an LS engine in it. But yeah, you can see everything, and that's what we love about drag and drive, is it's so diverse, and that's what's going to keep it growing and growing and growing. I mean, hundreds of events every year now, obviously, as you guys are very well aware.
I mean, and I think, and then this will be the last time I talk about this, but there's so many opportunities within this. There's events that are several days long that could easily add a drag and drive aspect or class or 3 classes that would only help increase car count. As everybody's been fighting about all the sanctioning body and track stuff and all that, that we have to get car count up. To get car count up, that's where the short circuit came from. Was like Tulsa Raceway Park was struggling to get cars late in the season for a test and tune. And in basically 3.5 weeks, we put together the short circuit last year as a last event of the year. Hey, we have 2 days of test and tune at Tulsa. Would anybody come out to this? And dude, there's like 45 people sign up ahead of time, and 78 people show up day of. Like, it's insane. Tulsa was not ready for it, to be honest, but it was great because it really showed what can take place.
Yeah. And why not? Like, you have a 2-day drag race event already. Why not have some cars that can show up, make 2 or 3 passes, go for a 80, 100-mile drive, come back and make a couple more passes, or the next day make a couple passes. I mean, it makes. I love what you're doing with it. Obviously, we're diving into it deep and want to do more and more of it. So no, I love it. And like I said, it opens up the opportunity for so many more people to do it, because they can't take a week off, but they certainly can take a Friday or a Monday or something like that and go have a great time on the weekend.
Well, I'll tell people this that have watched this long, and Brian, do not edit this out. This is just for the folks that are hanging out here watching to the end of this show. But we are taking the single day stuff on the road next year. These events have been so much fun. We are looking at other tracks. We're looking at places all over the country to take these shows and do some fun with. So we're going to have a blast in 2027 with the single day stuff, and the short circuit is going to be on another level next year. We're already talking to tracks, and the circuit, of course, like you and I've had that conversation already about that. So, okay. Last thing, Eric, I'm going to let you tell this last bit of story here, and then let's kick off and let this dude go to sleep.
All right. Well, you kind of mentioned it. Deechworks is the title sponsor for the short circuit, which gives you guys 2 entries. What are we going to do with those 2 entries?
Well, we definitely got to give them away for sure. We've got to figure out. Yeah, absolutely. We want a couple people to get obviously a smoking deal, well, free basically, to get into the event. So let's figure out some way to give away a couple. Absolutely. I mean,
dude, that's awesome. That's going to be one of the. I'm telling you, people will be fist fighting to try and get these. So for the folks that are watching, I'll put out a post first thing in the morning if people are ready, and then we'll draw it tomorrow night. That way we can get get it in before anybody pays for their ticket. They could actually get their free spot in there. So we'll do a drawing for it Thursday night, July 16th. We'll do it 24 hours from now, 9:35. Then it'll be awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks, man. That's really cool. I'm excited about that. I think this event is going to truly. We're doing with this what I've wanted to do for a long time, was just fun stuff. Like the short circuit will never be something where people are going to be chasing records. We're not going to try to. It's going to be about getting out there and doing something. Go have a reason to go to the track that we're going to.
Well, you're going to George Ray's. I mean, what's not super cool?
I've been explaining it to people that don't know. I'm like, it's like Brown County's Big Brother. like it's just so cool, man. And the history and Tyler that runs it is awesome. I mean, that guy's so cool, and the whole track atmosphere, I think it's going to be awesome. And they're doing like a outlaw small tire race while we're there on Saturday. Like it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. No, stuff like that is what makes, once again, drag and drive cool. It doesn't have to be. I mean, Sick Week is awesome. Drag Week is awesome. I've been to all of them. I love them all. I'm competitive. I like to win. I like to run good. But you know what? Sometimes it's like you just want to show up, make some passes, hang out, have some parking lot beers, and have a good time.
And that's the benefit.
Those events are all about.
Right. I think that's the benefit for these events. Like, we need the hard ones. We need Sick Week to be the Super Bowl of drag drive. We need Drag Week to lay it out. And like, that's where the fast cars are going to go, because it's got the history. We need Rocky Mountain to be 1,200 plus miles through the Rocky Mountains, and tough and in the heat and hard. And we need all of those. Like, we need that mix of stuff. And then we need fun stuff like this. I just tell people all the time, I want to ruin people when they come to our multi-day events. Like, I want them to be like, when they leave, they had so much fun, and then they go to another one that's like a week long, and they're like, damn, this is hard. This is really hard. Mike's was way easier than this.
And the 1 and 2 day things can be hard too, but it's, I mean, the long ones they're grueling, but like I said, the day after you're like, why did I do that? And then 2 days later you're like, when's the next one?
Yeah. Well, I guess I better get the car out of the trailer and get it ready.
Change the oil, put some spark plugs in it, and let's go again.
That's awesome. Mark, thanks, dude. We appreciate it. I know we're later than what we intended to be tonight, but man, I appreciate you really going deep there and kind of giving us some insight into fueling and all the stuff. I mean, it definitely helped me start kind of planning for the old truck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We love talking about it, and that's you kind of mentioned earlier too about D-Torx itself. I mean, when you call into us, I mean, you probably won't get me on the phone. Well, maybe you might, but we're going to have 3 people that you're going to probably talk to. There's another Mark there. There's Brandon and Dakota. I mean, you're going to talk to one of those 3 guys. They've all been there forever, and they love talking about cars. They're super smart on fuel system stuff. They probably forgot more than I know, quite honestly. And yeah, that's just, we love doing it. So thanks for having me on the show. And anytime you want to geek out about cars in general or fuel systems or whatever, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm down. All right, dude, we're going to put you backstage. Thank you very much again for coming on spending the time tonight.
Thanks.
Thank you.
How cool, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like we got nerdy.
Yeah.
That's the way it goes. I think there's a ton of sound bites that are going to come from tonight. They're going to teach people a ton of stuff as we move forward. We may not have had the best people watching in real time, but I think the stuff that came from tonight is going to be really, really good for people to learn.
Yeah, and like I said, really, we're putting together this template, that somebody can come use, and if they've got a turbo LS and they want to run 850s, here's the fuel system that you can use that's set up for that. So super cool, and honestly, learning about the AN being 16ths, I never knew that, so I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then he's trying to get me to do public math. I don't do that. What is 6/16 divided by 2? I don't know. I'm scared to answer.
Oh yeah, awesome, man. Those guys are so good over there. Appreciate what they do for us over here as well.
Yeah, for sure. So next week, we've got fun stuff. So Saturday is Heads Up Hustle conversations. We're going to talk about who's coming. A lot of returning racers, like 6 class champions are returning for Heads Up Hustle. And then next week, I'm going to try and get the All Stars Drag and Drive guys on. We had other guests planned, but I think the All Stars Drag and Drive would be really fun to have a conversation with those guys. And then, dude, I think we got to talk to Mike Westberg in the next couple of weeks. Like, we got to have that dude on. I mean, he ran a 4:10.
That'd be good.
Bro. Yeah. So I think we'll do something like that. So, all right, man, send us out here.
All right. Appreciate once again all of our race car friends that were in here making comments, all of our race car friends that are out at Big Sky Race Week sending us content. Again, appreciate each and every one of you. And again, all of our sponsors. Can't do it without these guys. If you need a affiliate link, if you need a discount code, if you just need somebody to talk to at one of these companies, we can get you in contact. So thank you to Summit Racing Equipment, Deechworks, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Howard's Cams, J-Wire Solution, AFCO Racing Products, Performer-Built Transmissions, Car Change 3D, Low Dollar Motorsports, PowerTube TV, and Racing Junk. And we will see you guys on Saturday morning.
Later.